On the border planet of the International Alliance, outside the Grey training camp, the wind was covered with metal fogs, like poisonous fogs spit out by the zombies. Luo Yu dragged his broken suitcase and stepped onto this deserted Ping Mountain, and his heart felt like he was dragged by a iron, heavy. 2 years ago, the dead invaders of the clan swept like a tide, swallowing up his homeland, the once green colony, now only scorched earth and echoes. His mother's smile and brother's toys all turned into cosmic foes. Hate was like the heat of the energy cannon, burning his chest, making him grit his teeth and registering the academic academy. It was not for the sake of glory, but just wanted to drive those giant beast-like armor and break the monsters with long touching hands. Recruitment. Stand straight. A rough sound exploded from the broadcast, shaking Luo Yu's eardrums buzzing. He looked up and the main building of the college stood in the sight, like a giant steel-iron zombie, with energy lines crawling on the surface, and the blue light was moving, as if a living thing was breathing. The recruits around him were fishing in, some whistling excitedly, and some whistling down. Luo Yu entered the team and felt like he was like a lot of parts. He had no background, no talent, only a sense of anger. Entrance test? I heard that it was a corpse, and 90% of the new recruits could not touch the base armor. In the test site, the air was filled with the burnt smell of motor oil and electricity. The giant simulated wheels are arranged like a coffin, the sentinel type in the base armor is bulky and cold, and the driving door is clicking and Luo Yu's heartbeat accelerates. He put on his nerve-connected helmet and instantly switched to the virtual war scene, dark space, with a floating bullseye pointing, and simulating the shadow of the snails far away. The instructor's voice whispered in the headphones, "Energy gun firing test. The synchronization rate is above 80%, which is considered passing. Remember, if the muzzle is tilted, you will become space garbage." Luo Yu took a deep breath and pressed the control rod on his palm. The energy cannon sounds like a roaring wilderness, buzzing, and the energy core of the armor moves in the chest cavity. He tried to concentrate, and the fire of his homeland appeared in the sea of his brain, but nothing happened. The synchronization rate is stuck at 45%, the muzzle is shaking, and the bullseye is shaking in the field. "Don't die," he murmured. Sweat slid down his head, feeling the ice silence like a space vacuum. In the room next to it, the recruits failed and artillery fire passed by, attracting the instructor's curse. When they arrived at the senior students' preparation group, their synchronization rate easily exceeded 70%, and the explosion of the bullseye's broken explosion sounded like a drum, which attracted cheers. "Luo Yu. Your turn." Instructor Howren's voice came from the broadcast. His language was as plain as a machine. Howren is a legend in the college, with war marks engraved on his face and the shadow of the Star War is hidden in his eyes. He stood on the watchtower, crossing his arms to his chest, and slapped the group of birds. Luo Yu gritted his teeth and restarted the system. Just as the moment of energy storage, a sudden stinging pain in my brain, like a current rushing through the neural network. The vision was twisted, and the energy flowed into his mind like a tide. That was the energy co-bearing. A rare talent, there is only 1 page of records in the college file. He felt that the armor was no longer a dead object, but an extended limb. The muzzle is locked and the blue light condenses into a hot ball. Shot! Luo Yu growled and pulled the trigger. The energy cannon exploded like thunder, tearing the virtual space and hitting the center of the bull's eye. The explosion of fire illuminates the entire chamber, with 4 debris, and the simulation scores instantly increased. The synchronization rate is 99.7%. The whole scene was dead silent, and then a buzzing discussion broke out. "Who is this kid? A recruit? Impossible." The door of a senior student opened, his eyes widened, his face blue. Luo Yu was in the driving seat, his chest was undulating, and the rest of the power was fluttering in the sea of brain. It turns out that he is not a waste. He can do it. Howren strode forward, patted the door, and grabbed Luo Yu's shoulder with iron-like hands. "Boy, your shot shocked my old bones. Energy scattered? God, this is talent, not energy." His voice was rough, but it was a rare heat. Luo Yu looked at him blankly, his throat drying. Instructor, I don't know what's going on. Howard grinned and showed a golden tooth. Stop talking, come with me. Preliminary guidance, starting from now on. You are so lucky that you will never be able to survive without practicing. I'm sorry for those brothers who died at the hands of the zombies. At this moment, the warning was harsh and the red light flashed, and the whole scene was shocked. Simulated invasion. The pioneers of the clan raided. The virtual war scene switched, and dozens of raids came like arrows, dancing with their hands, and simulating artillery fire. The recruits were in a row, and someone screamed and left the room. Luo Yu's instinct drives him to reboot his armor, and the energy flow reappears. He glanced at the teammate next to him, a thin recruit, and the room was stuck, and the shadows rushed towards him. Quick! Luo Yu shouted, with the side of the armor, the energy cannon slightly adjusting the angle, and a low-power shot exploded and the debris fell like rain. The new recruit was sleepy and gasped out, "Thank you, brother. You saved my life." Howard pointed at the head, and his eyes flashed. It's good, instinctive reaction. This indicates the potential of the war, boy. After the test, Luo Yu followed Howard to the training room. The interior lights are dim and yellow, and the wall is covered with war pictures, and the air is filled with sweat and metal smell. Howard passed a data sheet. The core of the energy cannon is synchronization. Don't be anxious, learn to lock. The shell of the sect clan is as hard as a fortress. Once it hits empty, you will be exposed. He said, projecting a virtual shooting, and his temperament is like a veteran telling a story on the bonfire. Remember, on the battlefield, the artillery is your eyes. Aim at the weak point and tear off their defense. Luo Yu pointed at the head, and a warm current surged in his heart. The haze of inferiority spread, and he tightened his fists. Hatred is no longer a burden, but fuel. During the training, a figure pushed the door into the door. Ruashi, a genius engineer at the college. She had short hair, covered in oil on her work clothes, and her eyes were as bright as stars. Instructor Howard, this recruit's mechanical armor energy pipe is a little loose, so I'll repair it. She squatted down to check Luo Yu's sentinel shape, and used tools to make a move. Luo Yu moved his video and awkwardly, "Thank you. My name is Luo Yu." Ruashi raised his head and smiled, with a crisp voice, "Don't be polite. I saw your bombardment data, it hurts. But the armor is not maintained and it explodes prematurely. Come on, try this upgraded module to stabilize your common waves." Her fingers touched his arm lightly, and Luo Yu's heart beats a beat. This girl is not only an engineer, but also a kind of power to make people feel at ease. At night, the lights in the dormitory were dim, and Lu Wei, Luo Yu's roommate, leaned against the bed, gnawing on the synthetic nutrition stick. "Brother, your cannon today is so simple. I am Lu Wei, an assistant talent, which can enhance the stability of the armor. We will match it with you." He patted Luo Yu on the shoulder, smiled like a big boy, his eyes full of admiration. Luo Yu was stunned for a moment and pointed, "Okay, practice together. The clan has destroyed my country, and I have to become stronger." Lu Wei approached and said in a low voice, "I understand. The Alliance needs us like us. Tomorrow's internal competition, I will bless you with stability and ensure that you will be happy." The next day, the internal competition was extremely popular. In the audience, recruits and students were filled with them, and the discussions buzzed in the air were like swarms of bees. Luo Yu faced Guan Yu, the competitor who was a genius. Guan Yu's armor is an upgraded version of Nock-shaped, with rapid artillery fire. He sneered and picked it in the communication, "Bird, don't let people see you. I'll solve you in one go." At the beginning of the competition, Guan Yu took the lead in firing, and the energy beam was whipped like a whip. Luo Yu's side is flashed, and Lu Wei's help is injected in time, and the machine armor is as stable as a rock. "Closed!" Howard shouted from the side. Ruashi's remote control adjustment, and the voice is transmitted, "The energy pipeline is okay, turn on fire." Luo Yu closed his eyes and felt like the tide was coming. The muzzle is stored, and the blue light is dazzling. He slit his eyes and pulled down the machine. An energy cannon tear the air and headed straight for Guan Yu's weakness. The explosion of the slam wave shocked the whole scene. Guan Yu's armor retreated, the shield shattered, and the score tied. The audience burst into shouting. Guan Yu's door opened. He stared at Luo Yu, his face turned blue. This cannot be possible. You recruit. Luo Yu gasped and got off the plane. Lu Wei rushed up and hugged him. Awesome. We won the first round. Howard walked over and patted him on the back. Boy, you have the potential. It's good to go from the weak to this point. But the road is still long. Luo Yu looked at the starry sky and the fire from his home country flashed in his brain. He clasped his fists tightly, and his confidence ignited like cannon fire. The clan, wait for me. I will become stronger and report this blood feud. The heat of the competition was still there, and Ruashi came to the water tank, with a curiosity hidden in her eyes. Next time, I will help you upgrade to a double-joint gun. What's the matter? Luo Yu smiled and pointed. The future seems to be lit up. The lights in the training room were as dazzling as energy beams. Luo Yu rubbed his sore shoulders and walked out of the competition venue. Night has fallen to the college, and the starry sky projection screen far away is flashing against the simulated invasion of the clan. The red light is like blood, reflecting the tired faces of the recruits. Lu Wei followed him and danced his fists happily. Old Luo, your last shot. Guan Yu's face was green like the slime of the clan. We will train tomorrow, and Instructor Howard will catch you. You are stable. Luo Yu smiled. His chest still had a strong heat, but the images of the ruins of the countryside in the brain were like shadows. He patted Lu Wei on the back. Don't be happy too early. The energy cannon is not a toy. When it comes back, it can make your nerves swell. The next morning, in the special training chamber, the air was as hot as a steamer, mixed with the burnt smell of electric radius and the cold touch of the metal. Instructor Howard was already waiting there, and his tall figure cast a long shadow, holding his chest with both hands, and the scar on his face from his eyebrows to his chin was flashing under the light. Yu, Lu Wei, come in. Don't think that the competition will be won. The energy cannon special item starts with the basic backlash. His voice was as low as an engine, carrying unquestionable iron blood. Luo Yu diamonded into the sentry-type armored driving force, and his helmet was buckled, and his nerves were injected into the brain like a sting. Lu Wei's helper was beside him, and his voice was transmitted through the communication channel. I'm ready, Lao Luo. Stable waves are injected to keep the core impulse. Howard stood in front of the console and tapped the data screen. The backlash of the energy cannon is to be loaded simultaneously. Your talent is strong, but if you can't control it, you will rebel. The first intermediate beam, accumulate energy for 5 seconds, lock the moving target. Launch. The simulation war scene was open, and the space was in the middle of the space. 10 zombies simulated targets were swaying like ghosts, dancing with their hands, and dazzled. Luo Yu took a deep breath, pressed the control rod on his palm, and the energy core buzzed and the blue light gushed out from the chest cavity of the armor, directly shaking his nerves. The pain came like a tide, like countless arcs burning in the blood vessels. He gritted his teeth and hummed. His vision was blurred, and his sweat was soaked in the driving clothes, sticking to the mucus of the snails. Hold it! Howard roared. Back off as an exam, bite it. Lu Wei's help surges in time, and the gentle green light wraps the core of the armor, like a cool and scorching skin. The stability has increased by 20%, and the pain has been relieved. Luo Yu forced himself to concentrate, and the fire of the homeland appeared in his brain. Those monsters swallowed everything, not fear, but fuel. You should die. He whispered and pulled the trigger. The intermediate energy beam exploded. The blue-white light column teared apart like a sharp sword, the first bullseye shattered, and the fragments were like smoke. The pain backfires even harder. He felt his nerves being pulled, but Lu Wei's voice sounded in his ears. Still, Lao Luo. Come on, 2 more. Luo Yu gasped and adjusted. The second and third attacks hit each other. The moving target turned into a fireball in the explosion, and the locking reaction exploded and the surrounding 2 were blown. In the last episode, he predicted that the energy beam would be like a living creature, and he would penetrate the remaining target group. The total simulation scores of the whole field have increased, the hit rate is 95%, and the power is output to break the record of recruits in the academy. The door opened, and Howard stepped forward and smiled rarely. Boy, from a novice to this, he is as mature as a veteran. The power of the energy cannon finally showed up. But remember, this is just the beginning. Luo Yu crawled out of the carriage, his legs as soft as cotton. Lu Wei rushed over to help him. Awesome! Your cannon fire is simply art. My stable waves keep up with your co-fish, making a perfect file. On the wall of the training room, the recording screen flashed with red updates, attracting several passes through the side of the student. Luo Yu wiped the sweat from the end and felt that his body was reshaped, and the joy of power was scattered in pain. Hate is no longer blind anger, but sharp blade. In the afternoon, Ruashi's engineering car became the next battlefield. The lights and fires in the car are bright, the tools are colliding, and the air is filled with the pungent smell of welding sparks and the smooth touch of lubricating oil. She wore a protective lens and squatted beside Luo Yu's sentinel armor. The laser clamp in her hand was as flexible as a finger. Howard said, "Your co-fish needs to be better aimed at. Come on, unblock this module." Ruashi's voice was crisp, and he said, the head of the armor was removed, revealing the dense chip network. The standard aiming system is too slow. With this dynamic lock, your prediction talent can keep up with the squirming clan like your eyes. After she installed it, the test beam swept over, and the armor's sensor buzzed and the green light lit up. Luo Yu tried to sit in, and the bullseye automatically followed him in the field, so accurately that he could breathe. Ruashi, this is so bad. Thank you. She took off her protective lens, had a little oil on her short hair, and smiled, a small matter. Your data shows that the backlash is still there, don't show off. Next time I go to war, I will give you a heat dissipation ring. The voice fell, and a sneer came from the door. Guan Yu pushed in, followed by two followers, and the unwillingness on his face was twisted like a poisonous snake. Single, hero of recruits? Is it yours? But at the real war scene, the air cannot save you. He looked at Luo Yu's armor and said in a vocal manner, "Do you dare to simulate the battle? Single, the energy cannon is at the middle level. After that, you will be able to go out to the special squad." Howard originally wiped the tools beside him and glanced up. Guan Yu, don't bully the newcomers. But boys, it's good to practice. Lu Wei clenched his fist and said to Luo Yu in a low voice, "Come on. Let him know the harm." In the simulated battle scene, the two aircraft confronted each other. Space was in a flash, the warning lights were flashing, and the engine's roar was like a wild beast gasping. Guan Yu's horn-type armor is as agile as a horn, and it is the first to flash the side. The energy beam is like a whip, rubbing Luo Yu's shield and sparking 4 times. "It's too slow, vegetarian bird." Guan Yu mocked in the communication. Luo Yu felt the backlash and the hidden pain, but Ruashi's aiming model lit up, and the prediction of the trajectory in the field spreads like a net. His energy is genius to develop, and he feels listening to the movements of the zombies in his brain. No, it is Guan Yu's armor rhythm. He predicted the side shift, and Lu Wei's steady wave was injected. Lao Luo, now. Luo Yu locked the weak point, accumulated energy in the muzzle, and the blue light condensed faster. Go! The energy beam exploded, and the curved wings hit Guan Yu's side wings. The explosion shocked the whole scene. Guan Yu's shield shattered like glass, the armor retreated, and the warning masterpiece. At the end of the game, Luo Yu's score was inverted. Guan Yu's door opened, and he jumped out, his face turned blue, and his fists turned pale. "You are so active." But there was a flash of jealousy in his eyes. Lu Wei laughed and patted Luo Yu on the shoulder. "It's reversed. The team is tacit understanding, no enemy." Howard walked over and pointed. "It's okay, Guan Yu, you're arrogant. Luo Yu, this battle has inspired your potential. But internal competition is just a warm body." At night, the dormitory lights are soft, and the synthetic food emits a faint fragrance. Luo Yu and Lu Wei leaned against the bed. Outside the window was the school's defense tower, and the blue light was like a heartbeat. The fatigue of training made Luo Yu open his heart. He stared at the ceiling and said in a low voice, "Lu Wei, do you know why I am fighting so much? 2 years ago, the zombies swept my home. My mother pushed me into the escape line, and then, the explosion swallowed everything. When I woke up, only hatred was left." The words fell to the ground like a stone block, heavy. Lu Wei stopped chewing and looked sincere. "Old Luo, I understand. My village has also been destroyed, and my mother couldn't hold on. But hatred is not a shackle, it turns into force, so that we can protect the rest." He patted Luo Yu's arm. "Share it out, it's a good thing. Let's work together, become stronger and take revenge." Luo Yu pointed his head, and his heart was as stable as the core of energy. Hate is no longer a blind flame, but a light that guides the way forward. Friendship is like the help of Lu Wei, warm and practical. After training the next day, Howard added code, "I've advanced, the intermediate bundle is in a row. Be careful to load." Luo Yu rebooted the armor, shot 3 times in a row, and the bullseye broke. But at the 4th time, an accident happened. The energy core was over, the red lights flashed wildly, and the armor shaking like a huge beast about to collapse. The backlash is like a sea of slaughter, the pain penetrates the brain, and the blood in the wild is red. "Die!" Lu Wei shouted. "The stable wave is the biggest, but not too much." Howard rushed to the console. "Boy, get rid of the machine." Luo Yu felt that the genius of Qin was exploding, and his mind extended like a touch, wrapping the core of the load. He growled, "No!" The picture in his brain flashed with homeland, warriors, and artillery fire. The energy flow reversed, and the tide receded like a tide. The armor was stable, and the last energy beam was accurately hit, blowing the entire target group. The door opened, Howard widened his eyes and grabbed Luo Yu's arm. Have you resolved the load? This is not something new recruits can do." His voice was shocked and praised. "Boy, you have a big wave. But this suggests a bigger challenge, the clan will not give you a breath." Luo Yu stood calmly while panting. Lu Wei and Ruoshi were coming, and the surrounding students discussed the discussion. Guan Yu was watching from afar with cold eyes and no longer making any sound. Howard patted his shoulder. "Stay on a day off and then prepare. The first simulation of the college's expedition is about to begin. The surroundings of the celestial tribe are static, and you must prove yourself with these birds." Luo Yu looked out the window, and there was a flash of shadows in the starry darkness. The road to growth was just starting, but he felt the power was moving. The police lights at the college pierced the darkness before dawn like a striking red heart. Luo Yu flew up from the narrow bed in the dormitory, and his sweaty training clothes were still stuck to his body. The passing dream last night made his chest feel slouched. Outside the window, the energy shield blue light flash of the tower reflects the simulated motor armor team arranged in a row on the parking pedestal. These steel giants growled in the morning fog, and the engine preheated the heat like a thunderbolt far away. The basic training was over, and Instructor Howard's iron blood order was still rumbling in his ears. "Today, the war is in action. Fight against the simulated team of the zombies. Whoever drops the chain will return to the new recruits." Luo Yu took a deep breath, and the flame of hatred was ignited in his heart, but now there is a little more sober. He is not a lonely wolf, and he will trust his teammates. Lu Wei was already waiting at the door, carrying the auxiliary module package, and the joyful heavenly wool on his face was like a never-ending light. "Old Luo, are you awake?" Howard said. "This time it's a team of 5 people, you and I will add to the top of you and the other 3. Don't worry, my stable wave has been upgraded and can cover the entire team." He patted Luo Yu's shoulder, his temperament was filled with brotherly passion. Luo Yu pointed his head and felt warm in his heart. From small to old age, he was willing to carry it alone, but the appearance of Lu Wei made him realize for the first time that power not only came from artillery fire, but also from the support behind him. "Let's go, don't let the instructor wait." The performance venue is the underground simulation hall of the college. The air is cold and suppressed, mixed with the pungent smell of electric ozone and metal friction. Holographic projection on the wall opens. In the dark space war scene, the zombie-simulated fleets flooded like a tide, dozens of armored shells squirmed, touch-like gun barrels protruded, and the mothership model squatted in the center, like a giant bulge on the head. Howard stood on the guide platform, and his scar face was even more shady under the red light. He looked at the team, and his voice was as loud as a cannon. The war installation is simple. Lu Wei is the main assistant, and the team is stable. Guan Yu, you use the side wings to press the small ship. Luo Yu, the core output aiming at the mothership defense network. Remember, this is a real simulation, the death pressure is 100%. Once the gun is empty, you will be dead and come back from the head. Guan Yu stood aside, and the horn-shaped armor flashed at the cold light. He glanced at Luo Yu and snorted coldly, "Instructor, don't let the recruit drag the back legs. I don't want to lose because of him." But in his eyes, the unwillingness was no longer as sharp as before. Ruashi walked quickly from the logistics area, holding a flash device in his hand, a temporary energy amplifier, like a crystal ball as big as a fist, with a blue light vortex inside. "Yu, your charity is suitable for this thing. Connecting the machine armor can improve the locking accuracy by 30%, and it can be used to deal with the mother's interference." She said that she helped him install it, and her delicate fingers touched the interface, giving a faint smell of oil and her body temperature. Luo Yu felt his face slightly warm. "Ruashi, thank you. This time, I won't let it be paid for free." She raised her head and her eyes were bright. "Believe in you. Keep the frequency synchronized during the battle, and I will monitor it behind you." Lu Wei came over and laughed. "Miss Engineer, come here too. Otherwise, I can only be green." Ruashi gave him a blank look. "Your help is already stable. Be dedicated, the team depends on you." The team boarded the plane, and the driving door clicked and bitten, and the nerves were connected like current entering the brain. Luo Yu's sentinel-shaped armor woke up, and his vision switched to the battlefield. Virtual space is invisible, and the low-frequency buzzing birds of the hordes are like the chorus of the hordes, which made his eardrum numb. The police report begins and the performance begins. Guan Yu's voice was the first to explode in the communication channel. The side wings hit. "Let me come." His energy beam rolled like rain, exploded 2 snails, and the debris were like meteors. But the mother's defense network was opened, and the green force opened like a network, preventing the team from moving forward. Lu Wei's help is injected in time, and green light wraps the entire team's armor. Still injection. "Everyone, the motor up 15%. Luo Yu felt that the armor was like an arm to make his fingers, and the original stiffness faded. He whispered, "Thank you, Lu Wei. This feeling seems to be backed." The battle was glued, and the clan simulated artillery fire. A touching hand rubbed Luo Yu's shield, sparking 4 times, and the simulated impact shocked his body. The death pressure system is activated, the field is flashing around the red, the heart beats like a war drum, the explosion in the flash of the homeland in the brain, mothers shouting and brothers crying. It was as if he was like crampons grasping his heart, his hands trembled slightly, and the energy cannon was freezing. "Don't die, don't panic." He growled in his heart, and forced himself to recall the training. It is not the blindness of revenge, but the determination to guard. The voice of the teammates pulled him back. Howard was pointing. "Luo Yu, lock the mother's ship. Guan Yu, suppress the left wing." Guan Yu replied, "I understand. But this defense network is too thick." "Will you do it?" Lu Wei interrupted. "Old Luo, believe in yourself. My waves are behind you." Just as Luo Yu was aiming, the original turnover burst occurred, the communication channel was flashing, and the remaining signal of the clan tribe interfered with ghosts. This is a rare failure simulation in the college, the retention data from the real war scene, and the frequency was as chaotic as the scoundrel of the clan. The visual field is distorted, the locking system is insane, and the weaknesses of the mothership model are not hidden in the noise. The whole team's policemen made a masterpiece. Guan Yu cursed, "What the hell? The interference is too strong, withdraw." Lu Wei's helping waves also began to fluctuate. "Old Luo, I can't hold on." Howard roared, "Stand." This is a real test. Afraid that he felt like a helpless boy who escaped from the escape that year. But this time is different, he has talent and teammates. When his heart sank, he cut off the external connection and penetrated into the neural network alone, and his mind penetrated into the source of interference like a touch. The energy of the genius is husky, and he hears the rhythm of the signal like the creeping fighting of the genital clan. The fingers are flying and adjusting the frequency, and sweat slides down the spine, making the touch as cold as space. Come on. I understand you. After a few seconds, I interfered in resolving, and looked at Qing Ming, and locked and reopened. The whole team's communication was restored, and Lu Wei was shocked. Old Luo. What have you fucked? It's God. The opportunity is here. Ruashi's amplifier lights up, and blue light injects into the muzzle, and the energy condenses faster. Luo Yu growled, Lu Wei, the greatest stability. Guan Yu, open the way. Lu Wei responded, received. It's full of impact. The green light was like a shield, stabbing his armor. Guan Yu's firepower broke a corner of the defense network. New recruits, don't waste money. Luo Yu felt that the power of his partner was coming like a tide. Lu Wei's help is not only technical, but also a bridge of trust, making him no longer alone. The muzzle was stored, and the blue-white light ball expanded like a sun. He predicted that the mother's wing would be pulled down by the puller. The energy cannon explodes. The light column is like a thunderbolt, shaking the green field and hitting the core of the mother's ship. The explosion was locked, and the debris were like rain of fire. Many surrounding flocks were affected, turning into fireballs and disintegrating. The whole scene was shocked, and the simulation scores rose. The team won the first place. The shadow of the clan's fleet disappeared, and the victory police reported to the temple. The door opened, and the team came out. Sweat and breathing in the air were filled with breath. Howren strode forward and patted Luo Yu on the back, with the force as heavy as an iron. Boy, that shot turned the whole scene. Do not resolve it? I am convinced of your fighting wisdom. Lu Wei rushed over and hugged Luo Yu. Old Luo, what did you let me see? We would have been disappointed if you didn't have your shot. Luo Yu panted and smiled, feeling like he was lifting 1,000 pounds of weight in his heart. The pressure of simulating death once made him feel the hope of the family, but after the breakthrough, he understood, protection is not just about doing it alone, but about shoulders. Hate turns into belief, for mothers, younger brothers, and homes in all surrounding areas. Guan Yu walked in, his face was complicated, and his fist opened loosely. Humph. You are going to be hurt this time. New recruit, no, Luo Yu. I won't have a hand next time I fight. But there are fewer choices in my language, and I have more approval. Ruashi came from logistics and checked Luo Yu's armor. His eyes widened. Data shows that your co-heads are adapted to the interference. This is a natural way to optimize. Add an anti-interference module to immunize the real zombie signal. After the repair, I will start immediately. She said that she opened the interface, stuttered the tools, and there was a pendant in her eyes. Luo Yu pointed, Ruashi, Lu Wei, Howren. Thank you everyone. This battle belongs to us. The lights of the performance hall are dimming, and the battle scenes are played back on the projection screen, and the remains of artillery fire are still flashing in the field. Luo Yu looked at his teammates, and friendship flowed warmly like a flow of energy. He knew that the actual war had just begun and the sex in the border area would not wait. But now, he is no longer a vegetarian bird, he is the light that is wearing darkness. Howren summoned the team, rest for 2 days, and then advance to simulate. There is a real warning in the edge of the celestial tribe, you have to prepare. Lu Wei blinked, Old Luo, in the next battle, we will cooperate more tacitly. Luo Yu smiled and clenched his fists. In the future, artillery fire will be destroyed. The lights of the conference hall in the college were as bright as a battleground, and the air was filled with the bitter smell of coffee synthesis and the electricity ozone of the data screen. Luo Yu sat at one end of the long table. Lu Wei twisted his fingers uneasily beside him. Guan Yu Wei leaned on the back of the chair, crossed his arms with his chest, and his eyes swept over everyone like a knife. Instructor Howard stood in front of the projection, and his tall figure cast a long shadow, and his scarred face became even more severe under the blue light. The border police upgraded. The pioneers of the genocide rushed into the Karen colony, where there are 50,000 residents. You are the ones who are new recruits. His voice is as low as an engine, watching the team. Luo Yu, Luo Yu, and 2 deep-funded assistants. You are on the team. For the first real battle, don't give me and lose your face. Luo Yu's heartbeat accelerated like a cannon, and his palms were slightly wet. The performance is still in the brain, but the real battle? It was a collision between flesh and blood and metal, and the touch of the clan would really tear the armor. He glanced at Luo, and the boy grinned. Old Luo, our tacit understanding, the snail said with great emotion. Guan Yu snorted coldly. Humph, recruit leader? Instructor, is this a joke? Howard glared at him. Close your mouth. Luo Yu's energy cannon is the key output. Guan Yu, you have a side firepower, don't be a hero. At the end of the meeting, Luo Yu stood up and felt an invisible weight on his shoulders. The flames of hatred were rushing in his chest, but he knew that this time was not a simulation. The tragedy of the country could not be repeated in another colony. On the eve of the expedition, Ruashi's engineering car became a temporary fortress. The lights are bright, and the welding sparks are flying like a star rain. The air is mixed with the burnt smell of metal and the smooth touch of lubricating oil. She squatted beside Luo Yu's sentinel armor, dancing vigorously in her hand, and her short hair was covered with fine shavings. Howard said, "This is a true war. I have pre-installed an anti-interference module and an energy increase ring for you. With this, your locking accuracy can exceed 90%. Ruashi said that it is connected to the crystal interface, and the blue light is like a heartbeat." She raised her head, and there was a slight hiding in her eyes. Luo Yu, be careful. The fog of the Sludge tribe is interfering with, don't bear it. Luo Yu squatted down and helped her to use tools. His fingers did not touch her palms, and it was warm like energy flowing. Ruashi, I will come back. Thank you. These upgrades made me feel like I had more eyes. She smiled and her voice was soft. The communication channel is on, and I will monitor it behind. Remember, living is more important than winning. At that moment, Luo Yu's heart warmed, and a soft reel was added to the coldness of hatred. In the early morning, the Alliance transportation fleet Iron Gear was launched from the college. The engine's roar shook the ship. Luo Yu leaned against the fixed frame and looked through the porthole. The starry sky was dark like ink, with a remote planetary light. Luo said softly, Old Luo, are you tight? This is a real gun. Luo Yu slammed his head and clenched his fists. No. Think about the residents of Karen, they are like my country back then, waiting for help. Guan Yu walked from the opposite side room with a bright face. Recruitment, don't drag your back legs at the battleground. I will slap my fingers first, make a contribution. Luo rolled his eyes. Brother Guan Yu, do you understand the team cooperation? Howard's image popped out from the communication screen, and the scar face was severe. College, the war reiterated. After arriving, Luo was stable in shape, Guan Yu's small ship was built, and Luo Yu's main attack on the line. The fog came, rely on the straightness. The Alliance logistics will be airdropped, and I will guide you from a long distance. The ship shook into the air layer, and the Karen colony was filled with eyes. On the deserted rocky plain, the anti-cage tower was crooked, the energy shield shattered like glass, and the residents' escape carriages scattered like tills. The pioneers of the zombies have descended. Dozens of armored shells are lying like tumors, touching the gun barrels, spitting out green acid, slamming the ground. Exploding flames illuminate the night sky, and screams are transmitted through the communication hint. Luo Yu's driving door bite, his nerves connected like current flowing in, his machine wakes up, and his palms step on the pedal, feeling the earth shaking. College, get off the bus. The shape is scattered. Howard's voice exploded in the headphones. The war scene was as chaotic as the ground. The air was filled with the pungent smell of scorched soil and the rotten smell of the cypress acid, the cracked hot waves on the ground, and the carriage's shoe crushed the rocks, making a crunchy friction sound. Lu Wei's helper was the first to develop, and the green light waves spread like a net, wrapping the entire team. Still inject. Everyone, motor up, everyone follow. Luo Yu's sentinel armor was stable, the energy core was buzzing, and he locked the remote pointer, the giant beast-like mother ship, the surface of which was crawling and moving, the core blue light hidden flicker. Guan Yu, the left-wing small ship is handed over to you. I will go straight to the ship. Luo Yu said in the communication. Guan Yu's horn shaped like an arrow. Stop talking, look at me. His energy beam burst out, blew up 2 small ships, and the debris were like rain, attracting the shouts of residents. But the zombie counterattacked rapidly, and a touch whip came. The side of the Guan Yu was too flashed, the armor shield shattered, and the warning was made, don't die. The mucus is rotting, and the power is lost by 50%. Luo Yu's heart was tightened, and the fire in his brain flashed the fire in his homeland. The moment his mother pushed him into the car, it was not an escape, but a survival. He growled, Lu Wei, keep calm Guan Yu. I'll cover it. Lu Wei's waves moved in time, and the green light was like a shield to block the acid. Lao Luo, receive it. But the guide was moving, and the residential area could no longer hold it. Guan Yu gasped and replied, new recruit, thank you. But don't think that even if I save me this, I can do it myself. The inner conflict was like a spark, and Guan Yu's arrogance made Luo Yu look at his eyebrows, but there was no time to predict the battle. Howren guided the long journey. Luo Yu aimed to point the weakness of the lower abdomen. Energy accumulation, don't be anxious. Just as Luo Yu locked, the original turnover suddenly broke out, the clans squirting out the dry smoke. The gray and green clouds spread like a living thing, filling the electromagnetic noise, instantly distorted the field. The snowflakes were inconsistent, and the locking system lost its spirit. The smoke was like a touching machine armor, rotting the shell, making a sizzling sound, and the whole team warned the whole team to be in a wild manner. Lu Wei shouted, the air is interfering. My stable wave cannot stop, and the shape of the air is dispersed. Guan Yu's armor was surrounded by the fog, and a small sieve was snatched, and his touch was stabbed. Retreat. This sieve is poisonous. The residents' screams became even more urgent, and the colonial tower collapsed, and the flames blew into the sky. Luo Yu felt terrified as ice water, blood in the wild, energy cannons accumulated in the shell, backfiring the pain and swelling the nerves, like the echo of the explosion in the hometown. But he closed his eyes, took a deep breath, and his heart was silent. You can't repeat it. Mom, brother. I have to keep it this time. The energy genius exploded, and his consciousness penetrated into the fog like a touch. He felt the movement of the energy wave, not the noise, but the rhythm of the zombie, hiding in the chaos like a heartbeat. I heard you. Finger Dance adjusted the frequency, Ruashi's module lit up, anti-interference activated, and the blue light teared a corner of the fog. Lu Wei, be calm with all your strength. Guan Yu, left flash, I will open the way. Luo Yu roared. Lu Wei responded, Old Luo, you're so amazing. It's the biggest impact. The green light was like a tide, and he was calm and composed. Guan Yu gasped, have you done it? Luo Yu didn't answer. His muzzle was stored energy, and the blue-white light ball expanded like a sun, pointing directly to the core of the ship through the cracks of the fog. Howren's voice sounded, good, boy. Fire. The puller pulled, and the energy cannon exploded. The light column is like a thunderbolt, piercing through the mist, tearing the shell and directly hitting the blue core. The explosion was locked, and the fireballs were swallowed without any warning. The surrounding small ships were affected, and the debris were like meteor showers, and the mist dissipated. The pioneers of the celestial tribe collapsed, the emperor retreated, the colonial defense line was stable, and the residents' cry was like a wave. The pleasure burst like cannon fire. Luo Yu's first killing, on the real battlefield, the first light that penetrated the enemy's ship saved 50,000 lives. Inside the armored carriage, he was in the seat, sweat mixed with blood, and his chest was undulating. The inner change quietly occurred. Grief was no longer a shackle, but fuel, which made him transform from a bird into a reliable warrior. Lu Wei's armor came over and shouted happily in the communication, "Old Luo. Your cannon is against the will. The colony is stable." Guan Yu's image popped out, his face was complicated, and his arrogance faded. "Luo Yu. I just said, thank you. Without you, I'll be sad. This skill is yours." The internal conflict was resolved, like a smog scattered, and Guan Yu's eyes were filled with respect. In the communication channel, Ruashi's voice sounded softly, "Luo Yu, data shows that you have resolved the mist and interference. It's so bad. I'm worried. After returning, I checked the armor. Be careful, okay?" Her concern was like a warm current, and the emotional line quietly sprouted. Luo Yu smiled and said, "Rahi, I'm fine. Your model saved my life." Howren laughed in a long journey. "Boys, fucked beautifully. The Alliance will commend. This is the start of the hero, but the clan will not stop. Return to the flight and prepare for the next battle." On the return flight, the stars entered the porthole. Luo Yu leaned against the fixture, and Lu Wei came to the nutrient solution. "Lao Luo, how do you feel when the first battle is successful?" Luo Yu looked out the window, and the image of his home faded away, replaced by the lights of the colony. "Like rebirth. In the past, I just wanted to revenge. Now, I understand, guarding is more important." Guan Yu walked over and patted his shoulder. "Recruitment? No, brother. I will join forces next time. The team's tacit understanding is like the energy network, and the organization will be in the future. The heat of the war is still there, but Luo Yu knows that the road to heroes is just igniting. The Alliance's police are intimate, and the shadow of the zombie has not dispersed." The engine of the Iron Horn slid into the hospital parking pedestal, and the heat spread out from the shell of the machine, scattering the odor of acid left on the battlefield, causing Luo Yu's nasal cavity to sting. The door opened, and he took the lead, and his boots stepped on the hard alloy floor, feeling his legs shaking slightly. The colonial cries seemed to be rumbling around his ears, but fatigue came like a tide, and the continuous battles made his nerves feel like overloaded circuits, causing implicit pain. Lu Wei followed behind and patted his shoulder. "Old Luo, heroes come. Look at the eyes of those students, and admire them as if they look at celebrities." Guan Yu finally got off the plane, and the tiny grin on his face faded away and turned into a complicated silence. He glanced at Luo Yu, without saying anything, but his fists opened a little. The commendation ceremony was held at the college venue. Luo Yu's energy cannon running through the smoke was played on the blue light projection screen. The explosion of fire was as bright as smoke, which attracted the surprise of the atmosphere. The Alliance popped up the military's images from the communication, and the soundtrack, "Luo Yu, a legend among the recruits. Your artillery fire has defended the Karen border, and the Alliance has given you the Star Pioneer seal." Luo Yu stood on the stage, with a flashing badge on his chest, feeling heavy. Instructor Howren walked forward and pressed his shoulder with iron-like hands. "Boy, you're pretty fucked. But this is just an appetizer." Lu Wei whistled from the audience. Ruashi came up from the logistics area and passed a bottle of synthetic water, with bright eyes. "Luo Yu, congratulations. I analyzed your data for a night last night." Guan Yu leaned against the side and hummed, "There is good luck in the battle, but at the battlefield, the sound of the sword could not be stopped." There was a thorn in his mouth, but there was no sharp spear from the past. The sound of shouting has not dissipated yet, and the warning is like thunder exploding. The red light is dazzling, and the whole scene is silent. The projection screen switches to the realm of the border. The large-scale fleet of the zombies is like a black cloud pressing realm. Hundreds of armored shells are rushing towards human fortresses, the mother ships are moving like giant beasts, and the green fog spreads across the space. Howren's face was bright. Bigger attack. The college has been upgraded to train rapidly, and all the teams to go to gather immediately. Energy cannon special items, add code. Luo Yu's heart sank, and the joy of commendation was like a bubble burst. He clenched his fists tightly, and a wave of fatigue surged in his heart. After the first battle, he wanted to catch his breath, but the shadow of the zombie was like a shadow. Lu Wei said in a low voice, "Old Luo, I have to fight this time. If the border is broken, the Alliance will be in danger. In the training hall, the air was hot like a steamed pot, mixed with the burnt smell of electric heat and the smoothness of the nail polish. Howard summoned the team, and the scarred face pulled out the shadow under the light. The clan has been upgraded, and the clan has a new defense layer. Advanced aiming skills, starting from now on. He knocked on the data screen and projected the virtual target. The moving clan is like a ghost, and the surface is full of energy network. Aiming is not a lock, it is a prediction. The curvature of the energy cannon takes into account gravity and interference. Luo Yu, your common genius is suitable. Feel their twitching, like a heartbeat. Howard showed that the armored muzzle was slightly adjusted, and the blue beam was curved like a living thing, and it was worn through 3 layers of defense to blow the core. Luo Yu put on his helmet, and his nerves penetrated into the brain. He tried to imitate, and the bullseye was moving like a living thing in his field. Instructor, this feeling is like hearing the enemy's breath. Howard pointed at the head, and his rough voice was praised. Yes, boy. I'm familiar with it, and I'll be defeated in one shot. Lu Wei's helper buzzing bird started, and he excitedly said through the message, Lao Luo, look at me. The college has just upgraded my module, changing energy sharing from stable waves. It can divert your gunfire burden and keep it from exploding. Green light injected into Luo Yu's armor like a wire, feeling the energy flow was smooth, and the original backlash pain was as smooth as a breeze brushing his face. Lu Wei smiled and said, try, in the sharing mode, your cannon can carry 1 more shot. Luo Yu used energy storage test, and the blue light condensed faster. He whispered, Lu Wei, this is so stable. It's like you borrowed the power to me. Lu Wei responded, brother, share everything. The sacred boy is here, let's drive together. Ruashi pushed the door in, holding a box of flashing crystal parts in his hand, which was covered in oil on the workpiece, and his short hair was so terrible that it could not hide the heat in his eyes. Luo Yu, your sentinel type should be overhauled. Based on the first battle data, I will transform myself. Unblock the development mode. She squatted down, laser snatched and removed the chest cavity of the machine armor to reveal the moving core pipeline. Welding sparks fly, hot waves swing. Luo Yu squatted beside him to pass the tool. Ruashi, how fast? Your hand is amazing. She raised her head and smiled, her voice was crisp and she was tired. For you. The connection requires dual-core loops, and your co-bear can synchronize them. After installation, try to shoot 3 shots, with a 20% power increase. After installation, she activated the system, and the blue light traveled on the surface of the armor like a river. Luo Yu sat in the driving wheel and felt that the armor was reborn, and his muzzle no longer shook when it was accumulating energy. Ruashi, thank you. This mode makes me feel invincible. She leaned against the armor's legs, her eyes softly, don't show off. At the battlefield, armor is the partner, but you are the core. Continuous training made Luo Yu exhausted. At night, the dormitory light was dim and he was in bed, his muscles were sore as if he was pulled by a touching hand, and his nerves were disturbed. Lu Wei went out to eat, and the room was so quiet that only breathing sounds were left. Luo Yu closed his eyes and tried meditation, the skill of Howard teaching, and his mind sinks into the core of the energy co-bearing. The chaos of war scenes floating in the brain, mist, explosions, and resident screams. Tired, but he took a deep breath and said in his heart, you can't fall. Hate is fuel, but now, I have to think further, not only break the enemy, but also protect the teammates. The gangster was like a tide, gentle and powerful. He felt that the nerve network was expanding, and his judgment was as sensitive as his touch. When you are slim, fatigue fades away, replaced by sober combat thinking. Next time you fight, you must put a trap instead of a hard fight. Growth quietly occurs, turning from an enemy into a thinker. The next day, the war hall was simulated, and the police were harsh. The projection opened the giant squad fortress. The steel castle plaque lies in space, with the surface climbing over turrets and defense networks, and the team armor approached like a trench. Howard pointed, Luo Yu, main attack. Lu Wei shared, Guan Yu's side hit. Guan Yu's horn type took the lead in moving, and the energy beam pressure was used to turret. New recruits, don't waste any chance. Luo Yu locked the core, activated the continuous mode, and the muzzle was buzzing like a wild beast growling. The first is that the blue light explodes, tearing the outer layer network, and the 4 fragments are filled. The shared injection of Lu Wei, the load is diverted. The second is followed one after another, passing through the middle layer, and the explosion shock waves vibrate the entire scene. The third is that the energy storage is faster, and the total tide is predicted to bend the curved junction, directly hitting the fortress heart. The fireball swallowed without fortress, and the locks collapsed, which made the enemy fall like domino. The pleasure of fire was as refreshing as a cannon, and the pleasure of firepower crushing made Luo Yu's heart beat faster. It's done. The shooting is gone. Lu Wei shouted, "Old Luo, the magic cannon. Sharing is perfect." The projection of the whole scene shattered, the police report was heard, and the students burst into tears. But the original turnover suddenly occurred. In the remaining data, a strange flicker flashed. A new change. The shell is like a liquid metal, and the touch can absorb energy beams and reverse and rebound. Simulation system warning, unknown changes, defense upgrades by 50%. Howren's eyebrows, don't die, the zombie has evolved. Luo Yu, test the new gun mode. I switch to the zombie change frequency at a time, in a special absorption type. Luo Yu reopened, and his mind explored the changing movement, feeling its thirst like a black hole. When the muzzle is adjusted, the third time becomes an impulse, and the frequency jumps like a disordered heart rhythm, which directly hits the weak point. The shell of the change was shattered and the green liquid sprayed, successfully restrained. Howren slapped the table. Boy, this indicates a crisis. New changes will be the core of the next wave of attacks. The college must communicate with the Alliance. After the training, Guan Yu blocked the door and looked sincere. Luo Yu, I'm convinced when I was just ejaculated. But I can't pick it up, so I'll work with the trainer. Luo Yu was stunned for a moment and pointed, okay. Your horn is agile, but the weakness is the redirection delay. When prejudgment, use the side wings to rotate. They entered the simulation to fight against the virtual snail group. Guan Yu took the lead in squeezing, and Luo Yu directed, left flash. Close the root of the touch. Guan Yu adjusted, and the energy beam hit accurately, breaking the gap. Luo Yu kept up with the development and firepower was restored. At the end of the training, Guan Yu gasped and said, your eyes are poisonous. I was wrong before, and arrogance is harmful. From now on, allies. He stretched out his hand and Luo Yu held it, feeling that the opponent's transformation was like energy sharing, and the team became more solid. At night, Ruashi's car lights were bright. She wiped the sweat from her head and gave Luo Yu a hot drink. I looked at the training data. Your total geese increased by 15 term meditation. It was a pity. Luo Yu sat down and felt her existence as a stabilizer. Ruashi, you always hold your back. Why choose an engineer? She leaned against the workbench, her eyes drifting towards the starry sky outside the window, and her voice was soft. When I was a kid, the zombie swept my homeland. Dad, he was an engineer who saved the village with a temporary shield. But he didn't escape. I think that by transforming the armor, he could save more people. The dream is to build an ultimate fortress and hold those monsters forever. Luo Yu's heart warmed up and held her hand. Ruashi, your dream is the same as my road. Let's go together. She smiled and her face was slightly red. Well, together. I will optimize the cannon mode for the new data of the zombie clan. Let's take a break, I will practice tomorrow. Outside the dormitory, the police were intimidated, and the firelight in the edge flashed in the projection. Luo Yu lay on the bed, his heart as stable as the core. The team's Albert and personal upgrades allowed him to prepare for a greater storm. Lu Wei pushed the door in and said, Old Luo, Guan Yu's guy is reversing. Ha, the next battle is invincible. Luo Yu smiled and pointed his fists tightly. The crisis is predicted, but they have changed. The police in the college were like thunder tearing the night sky. Red light pierced the dormitory porthole. Luo Yu popped up from the bed, his heartbeat beating like an energy core. The firelight in the edge flickered even more fiercely on the projection screen. The large-scale fleet of the clan had approached the human fortress, the steel castle guarding the heart of the alliance. The surface was full of defense turrets, and the blue energy shield was moving, like a giant gasping fortress. Luo Yu rubbed his eyes and rushed into the door. "Old Luo, gather." Howard said, "This is a medium-sized space war, our team leaders storm. The snails encircle the fortress, and the residential area is in danger." Luo Yu pointed his head, grabbed the battle suit, and the flame of hatred in his heart blew up. But now there is an extra layer of responsibility. It is no longer a personal revenge, but to protect the entire edge. They rushed towards the parking plating. Guan Yu was already there, his face was firm and his eyes were fixed. "Recruitment. Luo Yu, listen to your guidance this time. Don't regret it." Howard strode forward, and the scarred face pulled a shadow under the light. "Boys, get on the way. The Alliance logistics has been in place, and Ruashi will support it from afar. The fortress cannot be lost, otherwise the clan will go straight to the earth." The iron turtle engine thrusts open the air layer and penetrates into the dark space. Inside the driving wheel, Luo Yu sat up to the upgraded Sentinel armor, the nerves connected like current injected into the brain, and the field switched to the battlefield holographic map. The fortress is as flashing as a light tower. The surrounding medium-sized fleet of the Worm tribe is like a black cloud compressing realm. 50 armored shells are squirming. The gun barrels of the touching guns spit out green acid beams, slamming the energy shield. Sparks are 4 times, and the shield surface is cracking like glass. The resident's distress signal was hidden, screaming like a harsh eardrum. "College, the shape is expanded." Luo Yu ordered in the communication channel, and the sound was as stable as a rock. "Lu Wei, the shared energy is fully opened, covering the firepower output." "Guan Yu, the side wings are pressed to break the circle." I went straight to the middle of the ship. Lu Wei's auxiliary machine was buzzing, and the green light spreads like a net. "Lao Luo, receive it. Shared mode, the team's firepower is up 40%, the load is diversion, and it is unwilling to be worried." Guan Yu's horn shape was like an arrow. "I understand. Look at me breaking the way." The battle exploded, and space was surrounded by the collision sound of gunfire and debris. Luo Yu's armor was inserted into the war team, the energy cannon was buzzing, and the blue light stormed out from the chest cavity, driving the hot waves on the surface, and the sweat slid down, sticking to the mucus of the snails. Lu Wei's shared energy injection felt as smooth as a breeze. His artillery fire was no longer isolated, but synchronized with the team. Guan Yu's energy beam was connected, blowing up 3 small ships. Fragments were like meteor showers, and Lu Wei's green light calmed the trunk, making each fire as precise as a surgeon. "Guan Yu, it's great. Lu Wei, keep sharing, our firepower is fully opened." Luo Yu shouted. The first artillery bundle exploded, wearing a shell on the side wings, and the explosion of the slamming wave shock armor, and the fire was shining brightly in the field. Howard's voice exploded from the far distance communication, and was as thick as a veteran in the war scene. "Luo Yu, turn 15 degrees left. There is a hidden turret in the middle of the carriage. Predict the movement, don't hit him hard. Guan Yu, swirl it to cover him." Howard was in the guidance room of the college, with the data screen flashing, and his fingers flying to adjust the battle charts, and actually pushed it to the team. The zombie responded rapidly, and a touching buckle was sore like a whip. It wiped Luo Yu's shield, and the sound of rotting rose up, and the warning light flashed wildly. "Don't die, you will lose 20% of your endurance." Luo Yu lowered his curse and avoided the side. Ruashi's voice cuts into the communication in time, and is filled with anxiety. "Luo Yu, I'm connected from a distance. The gun barrel is durable upwards, injected with nano-repair agent, corrosion resistance up to 50%. Hold on, and it's done in 2 seconds." Her engineering car lights were bright, and the control rod in her hand was like a lengthened body, and the blue light penetrated from the screen into Luo Yu's armor. The heat flowed into the gun barrel, and the originally hot tube line was stable, and the durable green light lit up. Luo Yu felt that the muzzle was like a new life and the energy was stored faster. "Ruashi, it's amazing. Now, the firepower is fully opened. He fired at the slam, sharing energy to increase the second power, tearing the two snails apart, and the green liquid sprayed like blood rain, surrounding the circle of cracks. The energy shield of the fortress was breathing in calm, and the residents' cries came. The battle was covered with the wind, and the central wheel was lying in the center like a tumor, and the surface of the striking touch net held the attack path, and the green fog spread across the space, interfering with the vision. Guan Yu's armor was wrapped in 3 small ships, and the energy beam was chaotic. Luo Yu, cover me up. These touches are so sticky. Lu Wei shared the waves and moved in time, and the green light wrapped around Guan Yu. Still, brother. You have 10% of the firepower. Luo Yu locked the central wheel and predicted Howren's war. Guan Yu, turn right, I'll open the way. He fired the intermediate cannon beam, exploded a corner of the fog net, and the fragments collided with the outer shell of the armor, and released a metallic shaking. The team's firepower was fully opened, and it was as refreshing as the tide. Lu Wei sharing allowed everyone to fire like an arm and use their fingers. Guan Yu exploded the small ship. Luo Yu was wearing a defense line, and the fortress turret took advantage of the opportunity to counterattack, and the flames were connected to form a network. The climax confrontation suddenly appears. The central ship core is exposed, blue light pulsing like a heart, but an original twist strikes. Insect race releases mental interference. An invisible wave spreads like a ghost, invading neural connections, distorting vision into illusions of hometown ruins. Mom's screams, little brother's cries, exploding fire see reappearing. Luo Yu's mind buzzes, pain like 1,000 needles piercing, energy cannon charging jams, hands trembling. No, this is an illusion. He growls, fear like black mist entwining, the whole team's communication in chaos. Lu Wei pants, old Luo, what the hell? My sharing, disconnected. Guan Yu curses, mental attack. Damn it, Mecha out of control. Hao Ran roars, boys, disconnect. This is Insect Race's new trick, source at the central ship top. The fortress shield surface cracks again, insect ships approach, crisis on the verge of breaking out. Luo Yu grits his teeth, inner heart like the center of a storm. In the illusion, Mom's face blurs, he feels the flame of revenge extinguishing, replaced by teammates' shouts, Lu Wei's trust, Guan Yu's cover, Ruoshi's support, Hao Ran's tactics. This is not a personal war, but collective protection. He closes his eyes, energy resonance talent erupts, consciousness extends like tentacles, probing into the interference source. Mind buzz intensifies, but he senses the wave's rhythm, like Insect Race's whispers, hidden behind the illusion. I hear you, get away. Resonance shield activates, blue light feedbacks from his neural net, reversing the interference wave, counterattacking straight to the source. Illusions shatter like glass, the whole team's vision clears, communication restores. Lu Wei exclaims, old Luo. You resolved it? Godlike. Hao Ran laughs, kid, this move, Alliance textbook level. The opportunity comes. Central ship interference source collapses, core fully exposed. Luo Yu growls, Lu Wei, maximum sharing. Guan Yu, Ruoshi, cover. Green light floods in like tide, cannon barrel durability full, energy overload mode unlocked, the pipeline's red-hot buzzing, blue-white light ball expands like a small sun, load pushing to the limit, backlash pain surges up the spine, like fire burning nerves. But he persists, predicts trajectory, Hao Ran's tactical push, direct hit core, curvature 15 degrees. Trigger pulled, overload energy cannon erupts. Light beam like thunder tears through space, pierces central ship armor, chain explosions engulf surrounding fleet, fragments like fire rain pouring, 50 insect ships turn into fireworks. The cool point explodes, medium victory. Single person turns the tide, Luo Yu's cannon fire like a legendary brilliance, fortress shield surface stabilizes, border held. But crisis not over, one remnant ship tentacle stabs straight at Luo Yu's back, acid beam approaches. Watch out! Guan Yu's eagle type like lightning rushes in, energy shield blocks the attack, explosion shakes both mechas, he pants, Luo Yu, I owe you a life, no, this time I'm repaying it. From now on, brothers without gap. Luo Yu turns. Envision Guan Yu's mecha shield shatters, yet blocks the fatal strike. Grudges resolve, like mist dispersing. He nods. Guan Yu, thanks. We guard together. Inner heart growth quietly transforms, leadership responsibility like a heavy burden on shoulders, from personal revenge to collective protection, the teammates' lives, fortresses' lights, all tied to one thought. He whispers, Mom, I understand. Not destruction, but protection. Battle ends, Iron Eagle ship returns, cabin filled with victorious pants and metal scorch smell. Squad files out, Hao Ran steps forward patting Luo Yu's shoulder. Kid, midpoint hero. Your overload cannon and mental shield, Alliance will record it. But insect race mothership still there, next battle fiercer. Lu Wei bear hugs him, old Luo, team hero. Shared energy with your resonance, invincible. Guan Yu walks over, fist bumps, brother, that life-saving grace just now, previous petty mind, gone. Ruashi rushes from logistics, short hair messy, eyes red. She throws herself into Luo Yu's arms, hug tight, body warmth like a warm current melting post-battle chill. Luo Yu, you scared me to death. Mental interference data, I'll optimize shield module. But your safe is good. Emotions rise like energy flow. She lifts head, cheeks slightly red. Celebrate a bit? Your mind has leaped, I can feel it. Luo Yu lightly strokes her back, smiles. Ruashi, together. Guarding, not just the battlefield. On the square, trainees gather, projection replays the overload cannon's glory, cheers like waves. But Luo Yu looks to the stars, insect race shadow looming, abilities and mind double leap, making him ready for midpoint climax, hero's path, halfway arrived, storm approaching. Lu Wei leans in, old Luo, next wave, our sharing upgrade? Luo Yu nods, fist clenched. Future, cannon fire will be fiercer. On the parking garage of the college, the night wind was covered with the chill of metal, and the engine of the Iron Turtle was still steaming. Luo Yu leaned against the armor's leg protection armor, and his chest was not undulating. The commendation cries were like a tide receding, leaving only the darkness of the starry sky suppressed and heavy. Lu Wei came with a bottle of nutrient solution and grinned, old Luo, hero treatment. But I feel that there is a big storm before this silence. Guan Yu pointed his head and rarely said, yes, the warning rate in the border area is high. The selves are unwilling to give up. Ruashi walked from the logistics area, putting her sleeves in her work. He rolled up, his eyes were exhausted and calm. The data shows that the zombie team is reorganizing. Luo Yu, I will optimize your super cannon mode tonight. Let's take a break. Howard patted Luo Yu's shoulder, and his thick voice was low, boys, you are nourishing your energy. The Alliance signal said that the strong enemy will come. Before the sound was finished, the warning was like a sharp blade shattering through space. The red light was dazzling, and the whole scene was shocked. The projection screen switches to the real-time image of the adjacent planet Zerg. On the deserted red plain, the human colonial tower is crooked, the energy shield shatters like thin ice, the elite fleet of the clan appears like a black tide, a giant mount in the center moves with purple-black light, and the surface is full of touching hands like thorns, stealing a low-frequency buzzing bird. That is the flag of the army of the Celestial Clan. Howard's face was erected. Do you die, you will be a military level. Zeal has 100,000 residents, new recruits. No, you are the main force. I will follow the army and point to the front line. Lu Wei widened his eyes. Instructor, are you doing the election? This time it is serious. Guan Yu clenched his fist. Let's go, prove our tacit understanding. Ruashi bit his lip. I'll follow up and upgrade from a long journey. Luo Yu, be careful to show that the military's powered data, it can interfere with the mind. The Iron Turtle fired again, and the engine's turtle shook the bone marrow. Luo Yu sat in the driving force, the nerves connected like electric current, and the planet Zerg in the field amplified. The red sand plain was stained with blood, the elite squad of the clan squad was scattered like wolves, touching the gun barrels spit out acid, slamming the defense line. The explosion of fire illuminated the night sky, the residents' escape gear scattered, and screams came through the communication hid. Howard's guide was opening in the road, and his voice exploded in the channel. Cross, land on the east side of the plane. Lu Wei, the whole team is stable and strengthened. Guan Yu, the side wing firepower suppression team. Luo Yu, the main attack on the army's fleet. Remember, the shield of the army is an energy vortex. If you miss it, the consequences will be borne. Lu Wei's helping opportunity was the first to develop, and the green light spreads like a huge network, wrapping the whole team. Lao Luo, the enhanced mode is opened. Stable up 60%, the energy sharing is fully opened, everyone's fire is loaded, I will carry half of it. Guan Yu's pinch is like a flashing sound, received. The team handed me over to break the gap. When the war landed, the red sand swelled like a fog, and the pungent smell of acid rot and the heat waves of burning soil were filled with the air. The armored carpet crushed the rocks and made a crunchy friction sound. Luo Yu's sentinel-shaped armor was stable, the energy cannon was buzzing, and blue light gushed out from the chest cavity, driving the hot waves on the surface, and sweat soaked in the lens. Howren's armor was pressed on the front line, and the veteran-like war push actually popped up. Luo Yu, lock the seat and the weak abdomen. Predict the touching carriage, don't be slapped. Guan Yu was the first to rush, the energy beam burst into rain, and 5 teams exploded, and the fragments were like meteors. Luo Yu, the road is open. Your cannon, bring me a ruthless. Lu Wei's green light injected into Guan Yu's armor. Still, brother. You borrow 20% of your firepower, don't wave. Ruashi's communication cut in, and the sound was urgent. Luo Yu, upgrade quickly. The military shield is too strong, and your gun mode is switched to the anti-aircraft type, injecting reflective crystals to revive some energy. Her engineering car lights are bright, her fingers dance to control the rods, and the blue data flows into Luo Yu's armor like a river. The pipeline is hot and buzzing, and lattice patterns appear on the surface of the muzzle, which feels like an extra layer of invisible shield. Luo Yu said in a humble manner, Ruashi, received it. But during the transmission, your channel is exposed to great danger. She gasped and said, I can't control it. The residents of Zell are waiting, and the data must be optimized in real time. I'm worth it to take my risk. Her courage was like a warm current, and Luo Yu felt nervous, and his heart was silent. She always sucked her waist behind, and this time, I have to protect her. When the army woke up, the purple-black light burst out like a giant beast, his touching hands whipped like a whip, and he swept over Howren's armor and sparked 4 times. Howren cursed, die, this power. Team, scatter. An invisible spiritual wave rushed over like a tide, invading the nerves connected, the vision twisted, the ruins of the homeland floating in Luo Yu's brain, and the mother's phantom screamed, escape, you. It was as if the crampons were snatching the heart, the palms were trembling, and the energy cannon was accumulating a card. The low-frequency buzzing of the army was like a mockery, buzzing his eardrums, human, weak. Lu Wei shouted, Old Luo, wake up. My stable wave can't hold on to this thing. Guan Yu gasped, Royu, don't panic. Think about Karen, we won. Howren's voice was rough and buzzing, boy, the power is an illusion. Grip your teeth and break through it, your common genius, specialize in this ghost thing. Luo Yu closed his eyes, his chest was undulating, and his heart was stormy. The nightmare that was powerful made him feel as small as a cliff. But the shouts of the teammates pulled back to reality. Lu Wei's green light, Guan Yu's firepower, Ruashi's data, and Howren's war. This is not an orphan, but a human calculation. Hatred turned into belief, and he growled, Son of the Sacred, you destroyed my country, but today, I will keep zeal. The energy blew up, and the mind extended like a touch, wrapping the spiritual waves and resolving the illusion. With a clear vision, he locked the system on the upper line. He felt that the psychological disorder was like shattering glass, and his growth was ignited like artillery fire, no longer fearing enemies, humans have teams and wisdom. He rushed up quickly, Lu Wei, share with all his strength. Guan Yu, cover the right wing. Lu Wei responded, Old Luo, it's amazing. Stable and strengthened, and the artillery fire is endless. Guan Yu's energy beam pressure control toucher, go. Team firepower is on. The opportunity is here. Luo Yu aimed at the abdomen of the seat, activated the anti-cannon mode, and the energy-accumulated blue light at the muzzle was twisted like a whirlpool, reflecting the crystal flash. Howard pushed the carriage. The curvature is 20 degrees, the armor-piercing fire. The armor-piercing energy cannon exploded. The light column is like a ripples tearing the red sand plain, passing through the gap in the fleet, and directly hitting the seat shield. At the moment of collision, the purple-black vortex trembled, the energy rebounded 4 times, the shield shattered in a corner, and the green liquid sprayed like blood. The pleasure is bursting, the first fight against the strong enemy. Luo Yu's growth firepower was shining. At this moment, the Alliance recorder captured the turret of Zell's defense line, took the opportunity to counterattack, and the flames intertwined. Guan Yu laughed, awesome. I'm following my side and blowing up its wings. His horn-shaped straights were connected, and the team's cooperation was initially achieved. The team collapsed several ships, and the planes were piled up like mountains. But the army roared, and the seats released energy and impulses, the original turn and sudden burst. A purple-black wave came back like a sea storm, attacking the energy source. Luo Yu's gun barrel red light flashed wildly, and backfired, the pain and swelling the nerves, like fire stoking blood vessels, and the whole team's armor trembled. Lu Wei screamed, "Old Luo, the storm is too strong. The sharing is broken, my stability cannot withstand it." Guan Yu's armor retreated, and the shield shattered. Retreat. This backlash will explode. Howard roared, stand. Luo Yu, use your storm to reverse. Ruashi took the lead and added code, and the data stream accelerated transmission, and the sound granulated. Invade the seat channel. Data shows that the source of the veins is in the core, absorb it and you can reverse it. Her screen snowflakes are in a flash, and the exposed position attracts clan signals to follow, and the car police report is a masterpiece, but she grits her teeth. Royu, relay. Your talent can absorb some energy. Luo Yu felt like a poisonous snake diamonds into the armor, and the blood in the wild was red, and the illusion of the family village flashed again. But he took a deep breath, and his genius was fully opened, his mind was like a black hole, and he used the stimulus to rush, not to resist, but to absorb. The blue light blends with purple and black, the cannon barrel buzzes and the energy is overwhelming, and he growled, "Come on, snails, I borrow your power." Some of the swells were sucked into the core, and the counterattack attack was activated. The muzzle explodes with a mixed beam, pierces the core of the seat, penetrates the shield cracks, and recreates the energy chamber. The explosion locked, the seat shook and retreated, the touching hands broke like a whip and fell to the ground, and the green liquid was like rain. Turning the army's buzz into pain, the whole scene was shocked, the elite team collapsed, and the cry of the residents of Zerg came like a wave. Howard laughed, "Boy, this move will shine with wisdom. The Alliance will remember you for one's sake. But the army will not die, and the crisis will be upgraded. It is calling a supporter." Guan Yu panted and leaned over. "Luo Yu, the rebellion just now, it's magic. The team owes you a life." Lu Wei's green light stabilized the whole team again. "Old Luo, sheer recovery. We are holding it." Ruashi's the message continued, and the sound was weak and excited. "The data has been transmitted, the seat is weak and the seat is locked. Luo Yu, I'm fine. But the clan signal has come after it, and the defense tower of the college starts to fire." Her courage made Luo Yu feel warm. "Ruashi, thank you. You saved us." On the red sand at the battlefield, the seat is retreating, but the clouds are stormed and the crisis level is upgraded. Luo Yu held the control rod tightly, and his heart was determined. Although the enemy is strong, the human race is in control. Howard ordered, "My team, withdraw the defense line. In the next wave, prepare for tough battles." Lu Wei said in a low voice, "Old Luo, this will make the army deeper." Guan Yu pointed, "Yes, brothers, break it together." Under the starry sky, the artillery fire was shaking, and Luo Yu felt that it grew like a flow of energy, rushing towards the unknown storm. On the red sand plain of the planet Zell, the engine of the Iron Turtle was evaporated into a fog, mixed with the sour smell of the green liquid and the burnt smell of metal. causing Luo Yu's nasal cavity to hurt. The armored door opened, and he took the lead, and his legs were still shaking slightly in the midst of the battle. Howren's finger armor stopped beside him, and the veteran's scar face pulled up a shadow under the projection light. He opened the communication screen. "Boys, they're pretty." But the army was not destroyed, and the aid troops were on the road. "Retract the fortress defense line, repair the armor, and analyze the data." Lu Wei climbed out of the assisting plane, and the green module was still buzzing. He gasped and said, "Old Luo, that's a blow, it's amazing. My shared energy feels like you've sucked it dry." Guan Yu's horn-shaped armor took a step back. When he got off the machine, his eyes were confused and he finally opened his mouth. "Luo Yu. I remembered it just now. From now on, I officially join the team. Don't recommend it, the team needs my firepower." Luo Yu was stunned and reached out to hold it. "Okay, brother. Your reincarnation has saved us a lot." His heart warmed up, and the previous confrontation was like a fog scattered. He felt that the leader's responsibility was heavier, no longer carrying the cannon alone, but moving forward. The repair lights in the fortress are brightly lit, and the air is as hot as a steamer, mixed with the pungent smell of welding sparks and the smooth touch of lubricating oil. Ruashi was already waiting there, with the workmanship covered with iron shavings, and her short hair was so terrible that she could not hide the anxiety in her eyes. She rushed forward and checked Luo Yu's sentinel armor, and the laserdinger made a comment. "Luo Yu, your gun barrel has a serious overload. I downloaded the data of mental interference, and the military's pressure wave frequency is a different type, and the weakness is in the core energy chamber, but it has a self-healing layer, so it needs to use a high-frequency armor piercing." She said that the data screen was projected, and the blue chart was moving like a heartbeat, and the team was surrounded. Howren hugged his chest and leaned against the wall, and the thick voice sounded, "Yes, boys." The Zell War showed that the shield vortex of the military ship could absorb single artillery fire, but the joint attack could tear it open. "Lu Wei, has your assist link been perfected?" Lu Wei pointed his head and rubbed his sore wrist. "Instructor, upgraded. From the shared chain-type assistance, it can connect more than 3 machines, and the energy circulation is not consumed. Luo Yu's main gun, Guan Yu and I are in the middle of the fire, and the firepower gap is doubled. Guan Yu replenished, my horn hits the side, which can guide the track. Team combo, try to watch." Howren pointed to the head and called a special training, stay for half an hour and enter the simulation hall. Focus on the joint energy cannon. Luo Yu, your shared genius is in the new year. In the training, the virtual war scene was opened. On the red sand plain, the military seats were squatting, and the touch was dancing like a whip. Luo Yu sat in the driving force, his nerves penetrated the brain, and his vision switched to the chaos. Lu Wei's chain assists in starting. Green light is like a wire connecting 3 machines. Lao Luo, link. Energy flows, ready for joint accumulation. Guan Yu's armor wing positioning. I press the touch, you lock the core. Ruashi is connected remotely, and the sound is crisp. Unlock the fusion mode. Luo Yu, the sentinel-shaped core is combined with Lu Wei's assist, and the gun barrel becomes double connected. The power increases by 30%, but the heart rate needs to be synchronized. Her data flow is injected, the thoracic cavity is buzzing, and the blue-green light blends like a living thing. Luo Yu feels energy flowing into his nerves like a tide, and the original backlash pain has been relieved a lot. Ruashi, this pattern is like our hearts connected. He murmured, and a warm current of dependence surged in his heart, from being alone to the core of the team. This transformation made him more mature in his emotions and no longer regard his partners as a burden, but as a source of strength. At the beginning of the simulation, the seat touch came. Guan Yu took the lead in swinging, and the energy beam opened the gap like a whip, up. Open in a chain. Lu Wei's green light connected, the energy cycle accelerated, and Luo Yu's muzzle accumulated faster. In the fusion mode, the blue light expanded into a double beam, combined launch. Under the pull of the puller, the light column went out like a double dragon to the sea, passing through the shield vortex, and hitting the core directly. The explosion locked, the simulated seat shattered, and the fragments were like rain of fire. The scores of the whole game are rising, the combined power breaks record. Howard slapped the table and laughed, not bad. This combo has increased explosively. The aid of the sex is coming, that's how it is. Luo Yu shouted excitedly, Old Luo, I feel invincible. Your co-head makes the sect as stable as a rock. Guan Yu gasped and said, the team, it's so good. What's the shortage of being single before? Luo Yu was in the seat, sweat slipped down, and his heart was as quiet as a whisper, Mom, I just wanted to take revenge by one person before, but now, the trust of my partner is the real power. The leadership power quietly increased at this moment. He patted Luo Yu on the shoulder, thank you, brother. Next time we have a real battle, our joint cannon will be a soldier. During the training, Ruoshi pulled Luo Yu to the fortress's viewing platform. The starry sky was like ink, and the red sand of Zell extended under the feet, preventing the tower from being blue like a heartbeat. The air was clear and filled with the scent of soil. She leaned against the column, her voice was soft, Royu, during the Zeal War, I invaded the seat channel and was almost exposed. But when I saw your artillery fire, I knew it was worth it. Luo Yu turned around, watching her short hair lightly in the wind, and her eyes were as bright as stars. Ruoshi, you always adventure behind. Why? She took a deep breath. The face was slightly red, holding his hand, and the palm was warm like energy flowing, because I like you. From the first day of the college, your energy shared the data made my heart move. It was not a heroic light ring, but your guardian womb. Luo Yu, is it okay to be my boyfriend? The romantic twist was like a blue light, Luo Yu's heartbeat missed, and there was a softness in the shadow of hatred. He gently slapped her, Ruoshi, the same is true. Only with you on the battlefield can I dare to move forward. The two smiled at each other, and the kiss was ignited like a spark. The mature emotions made him understand that love is not a weakness, but another kind of power. But it is quiet and short, and the original turnover is sudden, the fortress alarm is low, and the communication channel is hidden with unusual noise, such as the low-frequency buzzer of the worm. Luo Yu was suddenly stunned at the viewing platform, and the energy-sharing nature was unintentionally felt a hidden movement, transmitted from the logistics area, like a storm of a military fleet, but even colder. The inner warning was so powerful, this is not a malfunction, it is an inner ghost. He pulled Ruoshi back to repair the rehabilitation, and Howard had already realized, boy, what's wrong? Luo Yu closed his eyes, his mind extended, and the neural network entered the fortress network like a touching hand. Instructor, the logistics data flow is exposed by the zombies. The signal source is in the repair team, and someone is sent by the spirit life. The whole team was shocked. Luo Yu glared, intimate? You should die, the snail is playing with the snail. Guan Yu pulled out his energy gun, location, I'll catch it. Luo Yu locked the source of the snail, and a well-in-class repairman's eyes were dumbfounded. The data tablet in his hand was flashing green light. The parasitic snail had invaded his nerves and was preparing to destroy the core of the armor. The crisis broke out, and the parasitic repairman roared and danced with a laser in his hand. Human is destroyed. Howard held a flicker and said, Luo Yu, counter. Luo Yu's talent was fully opened, and the waves of the pine were like blue light nets covering the repairman, and his mind pierced the parasitic source, raise his brain. The pain sucked backwards and slapped his back, but he gritted his teeth and held his body, and the rhythm of the movement was exposed. The weakness of the parasitic resonance was frequency resonance. He reversed the wave, responded to the mental shock, the parasitic horn disintegrated, the repairman fell to the ground, his eyes returned to clear. What's wrong with me? Ruoshi quickly isolated the data flow. It's resolved. The ghosts of the Zodiac tribe penetrated, and there are loopholes in the alliance. Howard pointed and patted the Zodiac tribe. You shouldered, boy, this is a way to save the fortress. Your feelings are bright and the leadership is shining. Report to the alliance and check all logistics. As the internal and external conflicts resolved, Luo Yu gasped and stood firm, feeling that growth was as stable as artillery fire. Internal and external troubles require teen wisdom, not solemn power. The police report was harsh again. The sergeant reinforcements team suddenly stormed. On the projection screen, dozens of elite ships were like dark tides, shaking the army ships into silence, and green fog spread red sand. Howard roared, "Cross, get on the plane. Join the cannon, open fire." Luo Yu sat in the Fusion Sentry type, Lu Wei's chain-assisted Series 3 machine, Guan Yu's side wings were in place, Ruashi's remote monitoring, the mode is fully open, the synchronization rate is 99%. The battle scene was in chaos, red sand rose, and the acid beam was shattered. Luo Yu growled, "Lu Wei, the energy chain is the largest. Guan Yu, pressure the front." The green light was like a giant net, the energy cycle accelerated, and the muzzle was filled with buzzing like thunder. In the joint mode, the explosive firepower increases. Lu Wei's help to leverage power, Luo Yu's co-fire guide, the three machines of energy gathered into a giant cannon, and the blue light ball expands like a sun. The reinforcements team came, and the touch network opened, and Howard opened the way forward, closed the center. Fire! Luo Yu pulled the machine and the joint energy cannon exploded. The light column tore the green fog like thunder, penetrated the front line, hit the middle, and killed no 20 ships in a row, and the debris were like rain of fire, and the pleasure of flooding like a tide. The team combo was successful, and the pleasure of the firepower crushed the whole team. Lu Wei shouted, "Old Luo, it's exploded. Our chains are invincible." Guan Yu's side followed, "Great. Retreat the military." The reinforcements collapsed, the Zell defense line remained stable, and the residence lights lit up like a sea of stars. Luo Yu is in the seat and the interchange is completed, relying on his partner, not weak, but mature leader. Howard communicated, "Boys, they are fucked beautifully. But the army is still there, and the battle will come." Under the starry sky, the team's tacit understanding is like an energy network, and the organization will be in the future. Lu Wei said in a low voice, "Old Luo, the next battle will be even more fierce." Luo Yu smiled and held the control rod tightly, "Go together." The fortress's warning resonates like the sound of the doomsday clock, and the red light pierces the red sand night of the planet Zell. Luo Yu pops up from the simple bed of repairing the wheel, and his heart beats beating like the energy core. On the projection screen, the actual image of the core star field unfolds like a nightmare. The great army of the clans rushed into the human border like a black tide, and the Iron Wall star field was the fate of the Alliance. The jumping door connecting the Earth and the border was uncertain. Hundreds of main ships around were squirming, and the gun barrels of the touching hands spit out green acid rain, striking the fortress, and the explosion of fire illuminated the darkness of space. The army seats were placed in the middle, and the purple and black light swayed like a heart, and it was hidden and emitted a low-frequency buzzer, like a mocking human thorn. "Do you die, the big invade?" Howard pushed in, scarred face green, and the thick voice exploded, "All the Alliance soldiers, I will set up the frontline team. Luo Yu, your team leader attacked, the upgraded armor has been in place. Ruashi, prepare for support." Lu Wei and Guan Yu followed behind, and the war on their faces was as flashing as blue light. Luo Yu took a deep breath, and the hatred in his heart was still there, but now there was a certain amount of light. He followed Howard toward the shut-down surface, the red sand swelled like blood, and the pungent smell of acid rot and the heat waves of the engine were filled with the air. The upgraded version of the Thunder stands there, the body crawling with the newly equipped energy pipeline, and the buzzing birds wake up like wild animals. Ruashi was pulled out of the project, with a greasy hair on her short hair, and holding a giant flashing device in her hand, the ultimate gun barrel, like a twisted blue crystal spine, with a high-frequency light ring on the surface. "Luo Yu, this is my hard work. Based on the data of the Zeal War, combine your co-fire genius and unblock the arc cannon mode. The power can curl the trolley, penetrate thousands of troops, and hit the vital points," she said. Climbing onto the armor, laser ticks were installed, and the waves were swollen on her face, and sweat slid down the crocodile line, unable to hide the heat in her eyes. Luo Yu squatted down and held her waist, feeling her body warm as energy flow. "Ruashi, this tube is too heavy. Didn't you sleep last night?" She turned around and smiled, her voice was soft and stubborn. "For you, it's worth it. At the battlefield, I fight on my shoulders, remote access, and adjust the frequency in reality. Remember, we will guard together. She near, kissing his head lightly, and his emotions were like a blue light. Luo Yu felt warm and he held her hand tightly. Ruashi, I'm not afraid of you. Mom's revenge, I will use the light of hope to report. It's not to ruin, but to protect the future. She pointed her head, her eyes were bright. Well, together. After the arc light cannon is activated, synchronize my heart rate and don't show off. Howard strode forward and opened the door. Boys, get on. Lu Wei, your chain assists in upgrading to the entire army and can share energy with the entire fleet. Guan Yu, side wing firepower pressure, proves your loyalty. Lu Wei grinned and raised his support module. Instructor, receive it. All the army is shared and the firepower cycle is endless. Guan Yu pointed his head, his eyes fixed like a steel. Luo Yu, I will cover you up until death this time. From the competition in the college to the current brother, I will not let the team break the chain. The Thunder engine was swept, tearing the red sand and rushing into space. Luo Yu sat up to the Sentinel-type Star Guardian, with nerve connections like current injection, and visual field switched to the Iron Wall Star Field. The fortress is like a steel castle, blue shield is cracked, the main force of the clan is surrounded by tide, thousands of touches form a network, acid bundles are shattered, and debris collide like rain. Howard's sect was setting off, and the Alliance troops followed like silver arrows, and artillery fire flew into a sea. The war scene was chaotic like a turtle, and space was filled with low-frequency buzzing and explosions. Luo Yu's armor was inserted into the war team, and the ultimate gun barrel was buzzing and accumulated, and blue light poured out from the chest cavity, heat waves evaporated the piping, and sweat soaked the lens. My team, the shapes are scattered. Lu Wei, the whole army is sharing. Luo Yu ordered in the communication channel, and his voice was as stable as a rock. The green light of Lu Wei spreads like a giant net, connecting hundreds of Alliance armors. Lao Luo, share it. The energy cycle is circulating, the firepower is up 80%, I will carry the burden. The artillery fire of the entire army was instantly smooth, the originally isolated energy beams gathered like a tide, blowing up the front of the clan, and the debris were like a meteor shower. Guan Yu's horn-shaped side wings burst out, and the energy beam whipped the side wing team like a whip. Luo Yu, the left wing presses me. Your arc light, aim to the army. Howard's stern voice burst out with a rough blow, the big army is pressed. Luo Yu, mainly attacking the seat, tearing the gap. The army's ship appears again, the purple-black light bulges like a tumor, the touching hands are like 1,000 arms dancing, and the green fog spreads across the space, interfering with the field. Luo Yu locks the core, the arc cannon mode is activated, the barrel is moving like a heartbeat, and the blue light bends into an arc-shaped carriage. Ruashi, frequency synchronization. Her voice cuts into the clear, received, heart rate matching. Arc light accumulation, curvature adjustment, the most powerful, fired. Luo Yu pulled the machine and destroyed the arc cannon and exploded. The blue arc tore apart the green fog like a moon, penetrated thousands of troops, exploded dozens of main ships, and blew up the tide of the explosion and swallowed the tide, directly hitting the seat shield. The flames are as bright as the sun, and as refreshing as the cannon fire. A single cannon destroys all troops. The blue shield of the Iron Wall fortress was stable, the Alliance was waving like a wave, and the border was about to be kept for a moment. Lu Wei shouted, Old Luo, divine cannon. The entire army's energy will be borrowed from you, and it will be unwilling to worry. Guan Yu gasped, cover it in place. Your arc light is simple and bizarre. But the original turn and sudden emerged, the army's plan shook, the purple-black light burst, and the giant beast woke up. The outer shell of the seat was broken, revealing its true body like an electroskin, a giant beast of a kilometer-level calf. The shell was like a liquid metal typhoon, and the touch hand turned into a giant claw. The core energy chamber was like a red-eye flash, and the roar shook the space. Human, devour. The giant beast came, its claws swept across the Alliance team, and several armors shattered, fragments flying like flesh and blood. The police officers of the entire army were furious, and Howard roared, Don't die, change. The weak energy is hidden, Luo Yu, feel it. Green fog added, interference is like a spiritual whip, Luo Yu's vision is twisted, and the ruins of the countryside are flashed in his brain, but Ruashi's voice pulled back, Luo Yu, persist. Data shows that the frequency of the giant beast core is unstable, immediately adjust the arc light, locking it to change the weakness. Guan Yu's armor was approached by his claws, and his side flashed and the shield shattered, Luo Yu, go. I prove that Zhongyi, the side wings are all open, opening the way for you. Lu Wei's shared green light is like a shield, and he stabilizes the entire army, Lao Luo, you have all the energy. The chain is the largest. Luo Yu gritted his teeth, and his heart was stormy, the power of the giant beast made him feel small. But he closed his eyes and looked back on his growth path, from the awakening of the college cattle bird, to the tacit understanding of Karen's killing in Zell's team, every step of hatred turned into the light of hope. Mother's smile and brother's toys are no longer pain, but fuel. The trust of teammates, Ruashi's shoulders, has transformed him from an enemy into a guardian. Son, you have destroyed the past, but I will protect you in the future. The energy combining genius exploded, and his mind was like a touch extension, and he explored the giant beast movement. He felt the core's change weakness, such as the rhythm of the rhythm, hidden under the shell. Frequency jump, arc light keeps up. Finger flying dance to adjust the gun barrel, Ruashi optimized in real time, synchronous. Arc light change frequency mode, penetration rate of 100%. Lu Wei's shared energy flowed in, Guan Yu's firepower suppressed claws, Howren constrained the large army's counterattack, and the artillery fire was like the sea. The opportunity is here. The giant claws swept towards Luo Yu, and Guan Yu shouted, flash. I borrowed my energy shield. The horn hit the claws, exploded with sparks, and he gasped, Royu, now! Luo Yu growled, arc light, fire. The destructive cannon beam exploded, and the blue arc curved like a living thing, jumping into the armor-piercing shell, directly hitting the core weakness. The giant beast was in pain, the red eyes burst, the energy chamber disintegrated, the locks exploded and swallowed the body, and the debris were like fire rains, and the main force was built. The climax battle exploded, recreate the army. The giant beast retreated, the tide collapsed, the lights in the Iron Wall fortress rekindled, and the Alliance army called out. Howren laughed, boy, this shot will be the edge of the country forever. But the giant beast is not dead, and the mother's shadow is behind. Lu Wei was excited, old Luo, it's the peak. Your growth is in sight. Guan Yu's armor came over and said in the communication, brother, loyalty is confirmed, I will fight again next time. After the war, while the thunder returned, Luo Yu leaned against the driver's seat, sweat mixed with blood, and his heart felt like he was lifted out of revenge. The darkness of hatred has turned into the light of hope, illuminating the future of the team. Ruashi's image popped up, and she smiled and said, Royu, your heart rate is synchronized with me. And shoulders, forever. Emotional reinforcement is like a blue light forever, he pointed, well, together. But the communication is hidden, and Howren's voice is heavy, the crisis is added, and the mother of the zombie is approaching the core. The protagonist's ability peak begins to appear, but the final battle will come. Under the starry sky, artillery fire is scattered and the wind is storm. In the thunderbolt, the lights are as dim as the rest after the war, and the air is filled with the smell of metal burnt and sweat. Luo Yu leaned against the fixture, and the heat of the arc cannon burst out in his chest. The projection screen of the Iron Wall star field in the field was uncertain. The scoundrels of the clan reorganized like black clouds, and a group of large shadows were approaching from a distance. It was the mother ship in the news, a purple-black object with a surface moving like a tumor, stretching over 1,000 kilometers straight, and his touch extended like a galaxy, hiding a low-frequency buzzing bird, which shocked the communication channel. Howren's solidarity image popped up, and the scarred face was Qing. Boys, the entire Alliance army is gathered. The Earth's defense line is in danger, and the energy field of the mother ship can twist the space and break the star field as soon as it hits. Luo Yu, your team leader finally responded, the prototype armor has been airdropped. Lu Wei widened his eyes, instructor, prototype. That's the secret weapon of the Alliance. Guan Yu clenched his fist, his eyes fixed, and until this moment. Luo Yu, my team will attract firepower and let you dive in. On the parking garage, red sand rose like a bloody fog. The prototype armored Dawn Watcher stood there, like a awakening steel giant iron beast, up to 30 meters high, with a surface crawling full of self-suited energy lines, and the blue light movable like blood circulation. The gun barrel fuses arc light and armor-piercing mode, and the core buzzes. Luo Yu stepped forward, touching the outer shell with his palm. The cold metal was like an extended skin. The nerves were immediately exposed, and the field instantly expanded energy and the celestial being surged in like a tide. The armor was no longer a dead object, but his second heart. This feeling is infinite. He murmured. Howard strode forward, pressing his shoulder with an iron-like hand. Boy, the prototype is the last trump card of the Alliance, built an infinite energy cycle, but it requires your talent to kill. Final warfare simple. Dive into the Mother's Guard group, disintegrate external defense, Lu Wei's midfield, strengthening the whole thing. Military chain assists, Guan Yu team attracts the main firepower. I will suppress the army, and you will be sure of the world with one shot. Howard's voice was rough like the words of a veteran, and his eyes were rarely seen soft. Remember, from the school's vegetable bird to this point, you have changed. It's not the wild beast that revenges, but the leader. Mom's revenge, use your own tribute. Ruashi rolled out of the engineering box, rolled up her sleeves, holding the final upgraded crystal in her hand, a blue-black ball with a fist-sized light ring inside, and the light ring inside rotates like a whirlpool. She climbed up the chest of Dawn Watcher, laser slammed into the heated waves of the sparks, and sweat slid down her short hair. Luo Yu, this is an infinite co-bearing module. Based on your talent and zeal data, unblock the energy infinity cycle. The artillery fire is inexhaustible, and the backlash turns into amplification. She said that she was connected to the core, the blue light blended with her fingers, and the armored buzzing sequentially, like the heartbeat synchronized. Lu Wei upgraded the auxiliary module on the side, and the green light spreads into the Zhongli network. Lao Luo, I am now in the middle of the war. The chain assists the upgrade to the entire region, can connect thousands of machines, and the energy is shared like blood. The Mother's Guard group has arrived, and I will calm you down. Guan Yu's team is in place, and 5 horn-shaped machines have a flash of cold light. He communicated, Luo Yu, I will take the team to attract firepower. The team has tacit understanding, and it is proved. It is for the sage to see. Ruashi finished installing it, slid down from the armor, holding Luo Yu's hand, and the palm was warm like energy flow. Be careful. After the infinite cobalt is activated, your vision will be extended to extremes, but your mind will be stable. I am behind, forever supporting and holding. Her eyes were bright, and her emotions were like blue light forever. Luo Yu gently slapped her. Ruashi, with you, I am the leader, not a lonely wolf. The thunder engine thunderstorms, tearing open the edges of the iron wall star field, and entering the front line of the battle. There was no side of space, filled with the roar of artillery fire and the collision of debris. The Alliance's troops rushed out like silver tides, and thousands of aircraft armor and ships joined the network. The mother ship approached, swallowing the starlight like a black hole, protecting the swarm. Hundreds of elite armored ships were like swarms of bees, and their touches spit out green acid beams, slamming the fortress, and the explosion of fire was like smoke. Howard's stern voice exploded, all army is under pressure. Luo Yu, dive into the left wing guard group, disintegrating the defense. Guan Yu, attracting the main force. Luo Yu's Dawn Watcher's obscurity mode is activated, the outer shell refracts the starlight, sliding into the enemy like a ghost, and the energy sense of the geese is movable. The rhythm of the guard is like a heartbeat, hidden in the green fog. Lu Wei, on the middle link. Green light was like a wire network, and the stable machine armor was shaking. Luo Yu felt the energy of the entire army like a tide. The gun barrel was buzzing, and the blue light poured out from the core. The hot waves evaporated the pike, and the sweat soaked the lens to protect the lens. Guan Yu team took the lead in moving, the horn shaped like an arrow, and entered the main firepower area. The energy beam was thrust like a whip and whipped, "Candlemen, come and chase me." The touch was sore and lurking, and the green fog spread. Guan Yu's armor side avoided a flash, and the shield sparked 4 times. He gasped and said, "Luo Yu, fire the power as led. Your path has opened." The team has a perfect understanding. Lu Wei's central green light is like a shield, and the team is stable and stable. Guan Yu, 30% of the energy is borrowed from you. Hold on, Luo Yu is in power. On the pressure of Howren's army, the artillery fire broke out and protected, and the fragments are like rain. Luo Yu went deeper and protected the group movement in the field like a live network. He whispered, "Multi-stage energy cannon, start." Unlimited co-headed birds were unblocked, and the barrel was accumulated in segments. The first stage of low-power blue beam was shot. The curved carriage disintegrated a protective outer touchman, and the debris collided with the outer shell and released metal. The second stage of the middle power arc light penetrated the second core, and the explosion locked and swallowed 3 ships around, and the green liquid sprayed like blood rain. The third stage of the high-frequency armor pierced directly into the middle of the group. The blue arc was like thunder torn apart the defense network, and the 10 ships were protected and disintegrated, and they were as refreshing as artillery fire crushing. The sudden burst was successful. Most of the guards collapsed, and a corner of the mother ship was exposed, and the Alliance was waving like a wave. Lu Wei shouted, "Old Luo, it's amazing. The Zhongli chain is stable, the firepower of the entire army is up 50%. Guan Yu gasped, "The tacit understanding is invincible." Your cannon exploded into the sky. But the original turn suddenly occurred. The core drama of the mother ship was shocked. The purple-black light burst, and a black hole slammed into the ground like an invisible giant beast awakened. The space was twisted, the starlight was whirlwind, the energy flow reversed, the entire army armor alarm was rushing, the gun barrel was stuck, and the backlash was like a tide rippling up the nerves. Luo Yu looked at the bloody red in the wild, and felt that the machine was pulled into the virtual world. Don't die, black hole scene. All energy is absorbed. Lu Wei's central green light shook. Old Luo, the chain is broken. The whole army's burden is over. Guan Yu's division was swept in by the whirlpool, and the touch men took the opportunity to snatch it. Luo Yu, withdraw. This thing swallows everything. Howren roared, "Boy, turn it back. Your talent, special energy source." The black hole was resurrected by the family's desire, and Luo Yu's brain was buzzing like crampons to grasp the heart. The mother's movements were like ridicule, devouring the hope of the Alliance. But he closed his eyes, took a deep breath, and his heart was as if he was a little roaring. From the vegetable bird in the college, the boy burned by the fire in the country, to the current leader, I have changed. Hate once made me blind, but now it is fuel. The trust of my teammates is the shield. Ruashi's shoulders are light. Mom, brother, I am not a deserter, I am a guardian. This black hole don't even want to swallow us. The energy cohesion genius is fully opened, and the mind is like a touch extension, exploring the source of interference, sensing the energy flow of the black hole, the vortex of the reverse, like the thirsty heartbeat of the zombies. He flew his fingers to adjust the gun barrel, and used the black hole power in the infinite coin to retaliate against the black hole power, and backfired the energy flow. Lu Wei, the middle link reconnects. Borrowing power, the whole army. Th. Backlash, fire. Luo Yu roared, and the mixed energy cannon turned around like thunder, stabbing the mother's core. The black hole trembles and disintegrates, the space twists and turns backwards, the protective slag is sucked into an autophagy, and the surface of the mother's ship cracks the purple-black wound, causing pain to shake space. It's a little refreshing and exciting, a reverse turn. The Alliance army took advantage of the pressure, and the artillery fire broke out. Howren laughed, "Boy, this is a legend. The mother's ship is recreated, but the core is still there. Prepare for the final try." Ruashi's communication cut in, and the sound was shaking and determined. "Luo Yu, you have done it. Your mind is as bright as light. The infinite common bird is stable. I am here, waiting for you to come back." Her encouragement is like a warm current, and the emotional pillar makes Luo Yu hold the control rod tightly. Ruoyashi, end all this together. Guan Yu breathed and reorganized the team, Luo Yu, leader of the style. The team followed and finally shook. Lu Wei's central green light reorganized the entire army. Lao Luo, energy is infinite. Mother, wait for us. In the star field, artillery fire was flashing, and the battle was like a storm. Luo Yu looked forward to the shadows, and the inner transformation was completed. From the bird to the hero, the road has been completed, and now it is the peak of guarding. The mother's buzzer was added and the touch was reorganized, but the blue light of the Dawn Watcher had already ignited the battle of hope. The thunder engine roared like a wild beast, tearing the dark edges of the iron wall star field. Luo Yu's Dawn Watcher was the first to emerge, and the blue tail flames rolled through space, reflecting the Alliance army moving like a silver river. The shadow of the mother's ship is close at hand. The tuna-like giant object sways with purple-black light. The body that stretches thousands of kilometers is like a star-swallowing beast. The surface is full of creeping touch nets. The green fog spreads like a living thing, and the energy field makes the shields of the ships around it sizzle. Howren's sturdy ship was in the front pressure, the artillery fire broke out and the fragments collided like rain. His rough voice exploded in the communication of the whole army. Jianjun audition. Press the wings. Luo Yu's team raided the core. Lu Wei, the central link is fully opened, keep the firepower circulating. Lu Wei's helps the central link to access from the rear, and the green light is invisible. The giant net entered the circle and connected with the 1,000 machines. Old Luo, the chain locks. Your Dawn Watcher's energy is unlimited, and the entire army is responsible for me to bear it. Guan Yu, the enemy is cleared, don't let them get closer. Guan Yu's team was like a wolf pack, and the energy beam of the horn-shaped machine armor was launched, blowing up the winged wings of the clan. Received. Luo Yu, I clear the road, you are focused on that monster. Luo Yu took a deep breath, his nerves connected like electric current flowing into the brain. The core of the Dawn Watcher awakened, the infinite common geese made him feel the movement of space like a heartbeat. The low-frequency buzzing of the mother's ship was like ridiculous, his touch was like 1,000 arms dancing. Green acid was woven, rubbed his shield, sparks were 4 times, the heat waves were driving on the surface, the sweat was slipping off, and the sticky liquor of the worm. Clan. Instructor Howren, dive into the position. He growled, the armor-shaped mode was activated, the outer shell refracted starlight, and slipped into the female wall defense circle like a ghost. Ruashi's voice cuts into the communication crisply and goes from the college logistics distance monitoring. Luo Yu, energy flow monitoring is on the line. The frequency of the mother's shield jumps. I immediately optimize the arc cannon. The curvature is increased by 10%, and the penetration rate is 95%. The heart rate is synchronized, don't panic. Her data flow is like a blue river injected, and the barrel is stable. Luo Yu feels that her existence is like a backbone, warm and realistic. Ruashi, thank you. With you, I am not alone. Decide to explode. The core of the mother's ship shook, the purple-black light burst, and a huge roar shook the space. The clan rushed out the army from the slaughter, the liquid armor shell fused to the mother's ship like flesh and blood. The giant beast swelled in shape, the touch hand turned into a 1,000-meter giant claw, and the core red eyes flashed like the door of the Earth's bulge. Human, end. As the black hole jams open again, the space twisted into whirlpools, the army was pulled, several armors shattered like paper, the explosion was like drums, the green fog spread out, interfering with nerves, making Luo Yu's brain buzzing, and the illusion flashed into the ruins of the countryside, and his mother's screams were like a thorn in the heart. Diet, come again. He gritted his teeth, his heart terrified like crampons. The lonely army went deeper, the teammates were far away, and the lonely feeling was like a black hole swallowing the will. But he whispered, no, this time is different. I am a leader, not a deserter. The energy charity of charity exploded, and his mind was like a touch extension, resolving interference, and his vision was clear, and the weakness of the red eye movement, which was the core of the military fusion, was hidden under the shell. Superbolt cannon, continuous fire. Luo Yu's gun barrel was red and hot buzzing, and the infinite co-fish was injected into the green light chain of Lu Wei. and the energy circulation accelerated, and the first super arc light burst out. The blue-black light column bent like a living dragon, penetrated the green fog, tearing the outer shell, and the fragments were like fire and rain. The mother's head sounded and her hands twitched. The second set of fires came one after another, and Lu Wei was able to help stabilize the trunk. Lao Luo, the chain is stable. The energy borrows 50% of you, and the shooting is in vain. The beam hit the root of the giant claws, exploding the gap, and the green liquid sprayed like a sea of blood. The Howran army took advantage of the pressure, and the joint artillery fire was like a tide. Bieni, good boy. The whole army follows in and tear it open. As he swept away, the blood of the lone army's battle made Luo Yu's heart beat like a war drum. From the moment he got to this moment, he overcame the lone fear. The artillery fire was no longer a blind revenge, but a sharp blade for guarding. The third launch of superloading is faster, and Ruashi immediately optimizes. The frequency is adjusted. Penetrate the core and launches. The blue-arced armor-piercing shell, directly hitting the red eye, and the explosion locked the swallowing area without fusion, which retreated. The outer shell of the mother ship cracked like glass, and turned the whole battle. The army was crying like a wave, the blue shield in the border fortress was heavy and stable, and the Earth's defense line was breathing. Guan Yu's team was like a flash cleaner and swept the enemy. The horn-type energy beam was launched, and the attacking group exploded. Luo Yu, your cannon has opened. We swept, the most reward. A slaughter rushed towards the Dawn Watcher. Guan Yu hit the side, and the shield shattered and sparked 4 times. Go away, snail. The team understands tacitly, never break. His team suppressed the side wings, giving Luo Yu a breath, and the secondary enemy's conflict was resolved like a scattered, and the army's reorganization was reorganized. Luo Yu gasped and adjusted the armor, and his inner energy changed like a blue light. The images of his mother and brother were no longer pain, but mission. Revenge is not to destroy everything, but to use this cannon fire to protect countless homes. The lonely man was afraid of turning into strength, and he growled, Can, you destroyed my past, now, I destroyed your future. Ruashi's communication trembled, and the sound was as soft as a prayer. Luo Yu, persist. I monitored the core energy to rush, but your common geese are stable. Think about us. Go home together. Her words were like a warm current injected into the heart, and the emotional climax stormed. Luo Yu felt her heart rate synced with herself, and the purity was mixed with sweat. Luo, Ruashi, I heard it. For you, for everyone, and... The huge beast of the mother's ship roared, and her red eyes burst into pieces. Fusion of the army, giant claws like mountain pressure, green acid beams like rain, Dawn Watcher shield warning, 50% of its durability, backlash, pain swelled up the spine, like a fire-burning nerve. Original turnover and sudden outbreak, the core of the mother ship collapsed, and the self-destruction crisis broke out. The purple-black energy expanded like a black hole, the space torn into a crack, devouring the surrounding military ships. Howran roared, Die, self-destruction. The entire army withdrew. Luo Yu, far away. Lu Wei's green chain shattered. Old Luo, the chain can't stand it. The energy is raging, the star field is about to break. Guan Yu's team was pulled by the crack, and armor shattered. He shouted, Ro Yu, run. Don't worry about us. But Luo Yu gritted his teeth and sank. Escape? The tragedy of that country will repeat itself and the border will be in turmoil. He closed his eyes and opened his genius with all his pricks. His mind opened like a black hole, and he used self-destructive energy instead of escaping, but absorbing. Lu Wei, reconnect the chain. Ruashi, optimize the absorption mode. The green light wire reorganized. Lu Wei gasped, Old Luo, it's amazing. On the chain, the entire army's energy will be borrowed. Ruashi's data flow accelerated, total geese are transformed, 80% stable. Suck it and reverse the guide. Dawn Watcher cannon tube expansion, the blue-black light ball absorbs self-destruction waves like the sun, the space cracks reverse, the energy of the mother's ship was pulled into the core, and the backlash was like a sea, but Luo Yu held on, and his heart was as if he was alone. This is my battle. Revenge, guard 1 and 2 sides. He turned the ball and reversed the super cannon to explode. The mixed light column pierces the heart of the mother's body, the black hole disintegrates, the energy flows backwards through the giant beast, the explosion locks and swallows the entire body, the fragments are shining like smoke, the mother's body shatters, and the purple-black slag turns into a cosmic fog. The climax peak explodes. The whole war turned back, the joint artillery fire broke out, the invasion crisis of the zombies ended, and the lights in the border rekindled like a sea of stars. Howard laughed, "Boy, hero. The Alliance will always remember the shot." Luo Yu's green light stabilized the entire army. Old Luo Yu, are strange. Guan Yu's team was reorganized and excited in the communication. The team will win. Luo Yu, your atmosphere, we will be with you. Luo Yu was in the driving seat, sweat and blood mixed, his chest was undulating, and his heroic atmosphere was as good as possible. From Kai Bird to legend, he overcomes everything and realizes his mission. The mother's buzzing bird was eternal, and space calmed down. Ruashi's voice softly said, "Luo Yu, come back. The war is over, our future begins." The thunder returned, the stars shone into the porthole. Luo Yu looked towards the direction of the earth, his heart was as calm as blue light forever. The crisis is resolved, but the rebuilding of the Alliance will be a new chapter. In the Thunderbolt ship, the stars were falling like shattered blue crystals, reflecting Luo Yu's tired and determined face. The Dawn Watcher's driving door opened with a click sound. He climbed out of the armor, his legs still slightly softened in the epicenter of the battle. The air was filled with the smell of metal, burnt smell and energy. The shouts of the troops in the communication channel came like a wave, and Howard's voice exploded first. The whole army heard the order. The mother of the zombie disintegrated and the invasion was over. Luo Yu, you are a hero in this battle. Luo Yu was pulled out from the help of a zombie. The bear hugged Luo Yu, and the green module was still buzzing in front of his chest. "Phone, old Luo. Your last shot, a simple myth. The mother's body is broken into pieces, and the edge is stable." Guan Yu's team image popped up. He wiped the sweat from the head, and the surface of the turtle-shaped armor was covered with scratches, and he smiled happily. "Brother, from the head of the college to this moment, I was convinced. The team's victory, your arc, will be remembered forever." Ruashi's engineering factory was connected from behind. She opened the door, her short hair was flying, her work clothes were covered with oil and chips, and her eyes were as bright as stars. She rushed forward and hugged Luo Yu, her body warm and melted the chill after the war. "Luo Yu, you are back. Data shows that the self-destruction is perfect, and your common genius saves the entire star field." Her voice trembled, her hands tightly grasped his arms, and the water slid down the edge, and the emotions were like blue light. Luo Yu gently slapped her back, and a long-lasting calm swelled up in his heart. "Ruashi, it's over. Without your infinite cycle of optimization, I've been swallowed by the black hole. Let's go home together." Guan Yu and Luo Yu laughed aside, and Luo Yu patted Guan Yu's shoulders. "Look at this, heroes still never forget romance. Brother Guan Yu, when do you look for one?" Guan Yu rolled his eyes. "Stop it. Luo Yu, this team will never disperse." Howard's solidarity was opened by shaking, and the door opened. He strode forward, his tall figure casting a long shadow, and his scarred face smiled rarely, like a veteran who took off 1,000 pounds of weight. He grabbed Luo Yu's shoulder, and his strength was as heavy as an iron. "Boy, you have passed from the recruits from the Academy to the Alliance legend." The moment the mother's core shattered, the entire army saw it. Your destructive energy cannon, the curved arc light penetrated the black hole, and the counter-destruction self-destruction, ending this star stage battle. The Alliance will build a monument and engrave your name. Hero, it's not born, you transformed it step by step. Luo Yu's throat was dry and he said, "Instructor, thank you. From the vegetable bird tested by energy cannons, to now. I understand, fighting is not for hatred, but for protection." Howard patted his back, and his rough voice was low. "Yes, boy. Go, celebrate. The reconstruction of the Alliance begins with you." On the way back, the actual image of the projection screen switching to the Iron Wall star field, the mothership's slag dissipates like smoke, the army teams rush, the blue shield in the border fortress is stable, and the Earth's lights are visible. Luo Yu leaned against the porthole, and Lu Wei came to synthesize the drink. Old Luo, are you happy? The single man ended the war, and the invasion of the zombies was fully defeated. Guan Yu came over and fists collided. Yes, then in the last episode, the space was torn apart. The black hole absorbed the reverse rotation. Who would want it? Your talent, the Alliance education and science book level. Ruoshi snuggled beside him, his fingers touched his palms. The data has been played back. Your common wave is like a light network, wrapping up self-destructing energy, and directing back to the core of the mothership. The crisis is over, we win. Luo Yu smiled, and his heart felt like he was lifting his heavy burden. That destructive energy cannon is not just a weapon, but a crystal of his growth. The fire in the country once burned his revenge, now it has turned into a force for moving forward, illuminating the road to peace. But the repercussions did not happen, and the original turn happened quietly. Suddenly the communication channel was snowflakes flashing, and a strange low-frequency movement was transmitted, not an attack, but a rhythm of surrender. Luo Yu had a snail of eyebrows, and the energy-combining genius was unintentionally responding to. Among the mother's slag, several shadows of the slags floated, no longer squirming and attacking, but were moving with the light of the blending of blue-green, as if responding to his slag. He closed his eyes, his mind stretched out like a touching hand, and he explored into the strange energy. This is not an enemy, but a piece. The whole silence, Howard widened his eyes. Boy, what does it mean? Luo Yu slim his eyes, his voice calmly. The venomous clan, I feel my reverse energy. Their core frequency has changed. Surrender. Perhaps, there is a door for peaceful coexistence. The Alliance has to consider it, not to be a complete battle, but to discuss it. Lu Wei sucked in a deep breath. Lao Luo, you have this talent to start a new era? Guan Yu pointed. Yes, from war to peace, your artillery fire has changed more than just victory. Ruoshi shook his hand tightly. Yu, you can always see the light. The Alliance will hear you. This is the hero's farewell. The iron turtle number, no, thunder number, slides into the Earth's lane, and the lights of the college welcome the heroes like a star sea. On the shutdown, the recruits and students were filled with shouts and sounded like a tide. Luo Yu took the lead, and the Dawn Watcher was suspended into the warehouse. Howard praised him with his head. All-league hero, Luo Yu. From Kaifeng to the Guardian, he ended the invasion and opened the door of peace. The badge was put on his chest, and the blue light flashed. Lu Wei and Guan Yu stood beside him. Lu Wei whistled. Old Luo, strange. Guan Yu patted his shoulder. Brother, remember forever. Ruoshi hugged him and said lightly, in the future, we will be together. Luo Yu pointed his head, and his heart was satisfied. The team was forever, and emotions were like energy networks, and the corpse would be forever. A few months later, at the training ground of the college, Luo Yu had changed into the robe and stood in front of the new recruits. The tall figure was as gentle as Howard that year. He looked at his face these years, and his heart was as calm as the depth of space. New recruits, energy cannons are not toys, but responsibility. In that year, I was a revenge boy, my family was destroyed by the zombies, and hatred was burning like fire. But the war scene taught me, from the birds to the heroes, not to break everything, but to protect peace. When I woke up my brilliance, I thought it was a weapon. Now, I know it is a bridge connecting humans and unknowns. The recruits widened their eyes and a thin young man stood up. Consultant, how can you practice your defeat? Luo Yu smiled and patted the simulation. As far as I feel, the geese are not forced, but synchronized. Come, try. Remember, the reflections that grow up after every fire. The sun sets west. Luo Yu walked off the training platform. Ruoshi waited by the side. Her short hair was lightly in the wind. Royu, today's new recruit, her eyes look like you in that year. He held her hand, and his palms were warm. Yes. Ruoshi, over the years, we have come back to inherit from the school to the international, and now, we have returned to the inheritance. The hatred in the family and country has no shadow, only power left. Push. We went forward. She leaned on his shoulder and smiled. Well, the peace and coexistence and judgment were successful, and the tyrants surrendered. Your feelings have changed to a new era. Lu Wei and Guan Yu walked away from afar, and Lu Wei snatched his hands. Lao Luo, evening meal. The team gathers together and never parted. Guan Yu pointed, life of the teacher is suitable for you. Heroes are not only at the battlefield. Luo Yu looked at the starry sky, and the images of his family and country colonies flashed in his brain, no longer a fire, but a reconstructed grain. The inner change of his heart was completed. From the revenge boy to the guardian of peace, the heat of the artillery fire turned into a warm light. In the future, if the blue light is infinite, the team will shoulder to shoulder, and the legend will continue.